Oh, hey bitch. Oh, excuse you. Baloney wash. I'm annoyed. I'm just here to give my opinion and carry in. Oh, it's Chris Avalon Unfiltered, bitch. Yo, welcome to Happy Tuesday. It's your boy Chris Avalon, and welcome to a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Filtered, a show we basically talk about all things going on in pop culture and hot topics. So if that is a show for you, definitely stick around because we have a lot of tea to spill today, including we got to talk about the latest fallout from this Kanye West festival over in the UK. It's like they canceled it because his visa was denied. And we did talk a little bit about this yesterday, but of course, gotta have a follow-up. So we'll get into that. Plus, we got to talk about, the Michael movies coming out at the end of the month. Variety did a little expose on what the reshoots and everything that happened with the film. And I'm glad to say that from the Variety article, I've been vindicated because I had people trying to come for me in the comments to my, well, you don't know what you talking about. They didn't say nothing about no the third act. Man. It says it all in the article, so I'll be waiting for my well. Fuck you, and I don't need the apology. I know when I talk, I say what I say, and it is what it is. So we'll get into that whole story. Speaking of which, with the Jacksons, apparently Blanket is getting himself involved in the legal war over Michael Jackson's estate. I'll give you the latest on that. We got to talk about Offset getting pow at a casino over in Florida, and I even got a picture of him in his little gown smoking a cigarette. The picture is so ratchet. I had to cackle, but we got the picture and everything. We'll talk about that now. Speaking of Offset, now we got something. We got to talk about his wife. They still married, regardless of the whole situation. Yes, they still married. Cardi B is out here putting some of these credit card thieves. Somebody stole her credit card, went on a $60,000 shopping spree, and she put them on blast. We got the clips and all of that, so we can hear from the horse's mouth. So we'll get into that. Plus, Karol G just did an interview with Playboy and basically said that she wants to speak out more about ICE, but her people are advising her not to speak out on it. We'll break that down. Halle Bailey, 3 years later, deciding to talk about the backlash she received from, well, the racist backlash to be specific, on what she received from the Little Mermaid. And who were the celebrities that actually came and showed her some support? We're going to talk about Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni, their settlement. Things have been denied. They're going to trial next month, so it's about to get ugly. Um, and speaking of Blake, it looked like her husband about to go to court because Darrin Henson, who was a choreo, well, I guess we could say was, because he ain't choreographed nothing in a month of Sundays. He did the bye 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 choreography. The choreography was used in Deadpool and Wolverine. Now he's filed a lawsuit, and I guess they're saying that he hasn't gotten any money from it, and then they use it in Fortnite, a whole bunch of other stuff. So he taking him to court. Speaking of courts, Howard Stern is being sued for creating a hostile work environment from a former employee. And on top of that, it looked like his past is coming back to haunt him because they did a Vice documentary or docuseries or something another couple of years ago, and they was basically putting Howard on blast, talking about that he wasn't the easiest person to work for, and people were trying to get fair hikes or whatever the case is in their employment, and he was refusing it. So we'll get and break all of that down. Plus, we got to talk about Juicy Love Dion, who was recently eliminated from RuPaul's Drag Race. She's spilling tea and saying that y'all about to gag when y'all watch this upcoming week's LaLaPaRuZa. And there was a heated rivalry lookalike contest where a bunch of Shane and Ilyas got together, even to a point that they started making out with each other. And we got all the clips, we got all that stuff, and a whole lot more. So, yeah, it's a little slow news day, but I had to find some of the most interesting stuff to spill on here. But before we get to that tea, if you could please do me a solid and hit that like button. If you are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. And also be sure to smash the notification bell so that you know when we go live with a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. We also have memberships and all that good stuff. So if you want to sign up and become a member, you can definitely do that. If you want to send super chats, super stickers, you can do that. But if you're a little cash strapped, definitely a like and a subscribe won't cost you a thing. It's free, and it definitely helps with the algorithm and all that good stuff. So please and thank you for all of your continued support and all the new people that have subscribed to the channel from all the little messy clips that I've been posting ad nauseum on my channel. We trying to go viral over here. Robert says hello, hello. All right, so Before I go live, I need to ask y'all. I'm not freezing or anything, am I? Because the Kanye West story is the big story. So hopefully, nothing is acting a mess. Just let me know if everything is copacetic. You said Matthew from Encyclopedia Madonica says a new song will be out next week. Did we have a conversation that Matthew Redman said that we got new Madonna coming? But now y'all talking about because what I was hearing was that there's a story going around. I don't know how accurate it is that she's getting the vinyl presses going for the new album. And people, and not one person in my comments saying, oh, it's too early. This is how the leaks start, all the other stuff. I'm like, everybody's doing vinyls these days. Taylor Swift, all of these people out here doing vinyl. So that means the album is coming. We got the singles coming and all that good stuff. So I hope the new song will be out next week. I mean, she shot the music video last month. So I was expecting it was going to be coming out pretty soon. It would be ridiculous if y'all shot that video early, only for it to come out later on in the year. And y'all talking about, oh, the album's coming out in September. I'm like, better not be. Okay, so thank you. You said it's not freezing. Thank you. Because normally, Cleveland be up in here to tell me, but I don't think he in the building. Anyway, but thank you for letting me know. Okay, so without further ado, hold on. Where we going? Oh, it's almost like I forgot how to do my show. Let me hit my banner. And let's get in our first topic. And let's talk about Kanye. So yesterday, we talked about how there was a couple of sponsors that had dropped out of the Wireless Festival. We even addressed the fact that, when I was giving on what my overall thoughts and breaking down all the facts, that even they said he was going to be having trouble getting a visa to travel over to the UK to perform over there. So now, because of everything that's been going on and his visa has been denied, it looks like they had canceled the this festival over in the UK, where they only had Kanye as the headliner for all three shows instead of having other people to co-headline or to back it up. But I guess they were relying solely on the controversy, because you already heard that he sold out both nights at the SoFi Stadium in California, where they're saying he grossed between $30 to $35 million in his own pocket for both nights. And there's no proof of this. This is what people are literally saying. We haven't seen the data. I haven't seen any confirmed stuff from any reliable sources that have said that this is what he's made. And you've seen people immediately jumping online and being like, well, he don't need these sponsors. Blah, 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 blah. He made all this money in 2 nights. And I'm like, first of all, y'all are not his accountants. You don't even know if that number is accurate. This is just a number that's been thrown out there, and people are just running with it because they want to justify the idea of, yeah, Kanye is controversial. Yeah, they love the fact that y'all love old Kanye. And don't get me wrong, I love old Kanye too. But this new Kanye, first of all, he's been doing way too many things in order to get attention. And I even saw recently what David Schwimmer jumped on social media. Y'all know Ross Geller from Friends jumped on social media and was saying, like, because I know some people are like, well, what does he need to do to get in the good grace of people? He said all this stuff recently, like a year ago, and all of a sudden all is forgiven. And I saw people were bringing up that, well, how come Chrisette Michelle got dragged and Chili got dragged and all this other stuff? And I think the reason, and I've been thinking about this a lot too, and I'll get to this story that I saw that Variety did that breaks it down a lot more, which I'm like, okay, now I thought about it, but I'm like, it's good to have confirmation when you get it from like reliable sources and stuff, instead of just me and my own brain and my own thoughts. Although my brain has never steered me wrong yet. I think it's because Kanye still has a predominantly large fan base. People still love his classics. He has a lot of great songs. Yes, he's known as a genius, if you want to call it that. And I think people were still holding on to what was instead of accepting who he is and what he is. And David Schwimmer says that he doesn't feel like he's done the work. And I feel like if you're going to go in and you're going to say all these anti-Semitic things or whatever the case is, then it's like you have to really go in and show people that you have changed. You can't just say, "Oh, I've changed and I want to meet with a couple of Jewish organizers and all this other stuff in order for them to see I've changed, and please let me perform at this venue and make this money." And it's like, but then the next day, all of a sudden, you have this bipolar rant that you're gonna blame your anti-Semitism on, and probably again, or I got hit up, I slipped and fell, and all of a sudden I became a racist. You know how a lot of people like to just make 1,001 excuses instead of just accepting the fact that no, you're just an asshole or you're just a bigot. People aren't born bigots. They're radicalized into believing those things via if it's around you in your childhood and you ain't really been around no damn body. So you just think of that because it's your parents and you trust them that this is the way the world is and this is the world view until you actually step out into the real world and you see the world for what it really is. And then some people have a change in ideology, or some people choose to live with that bigoted fear that they've been fearmongered into by family, by watching things on social media. Because that's another thing too. There's a lot of young people are getting radicalized because parents are not really paying attention to what their children are paying attention to, be it on social media or whatever it is that they're watching. So they're sitting around here watching all these groypers and all these other people on social media that are just spewing all kinds of male machismo, gym, UFC bullshit. And then a lot of these young people are being radicalized into believing this. The future of Nick Fuenteses of the world, basically. So, to get into the article, BBC says that the government refused permission for West, now known as Ye, to travel to the UK after backlash to his planned set at the London Festival this summer. Excuse me. For the last several years, West has caused outrage for a string of anti-Semitic, racist, and pro-Nazi comments. In a statement, Wireless Festival said the Home Office has withdrawn Ye's ETA, denying him entry into the United Kingdom. As a result, Wireless Festival is canceled and refunds will be issued to all ticket holders. Now, I posted the actual post on my social media, and some person said that they thought it was that's got to be a lie or AI or whatever. I'm like, how is it an AI or whatever the case is when it's literally what the organization said? Google is your friend sometimes when people just be outlandishly just saying bullshit on social media. Look it up. Google is free. Type it in, look up the sources, read it for yourself if you're not going to take my word for it. And this is from the BBC. You can't get no more legitimate than the BBC for the most part. Now, they went on to continue by saying, as with every wireless festival, multiple stakeholders were consulted in advance of booking Ye, and no concerns were highlighted at the time. Which is literally what I said. I said, but wait a minute. Now, if y'all spoke to the people in advance and let them know that y'all were booking Kanye, why all of a sudden, when we getting close to the situation that everybody's outraged and everybody's upset? That doesn't make sense to me. Because I'm sitting there like, y'all were aware of this. You knew how controversial he is. You known of some of the things that he says, but now all of a sudden, because this whole thing is being announced, oh, I'm backing out and I'm doing this, and it just feels fake and it feels performative to me. And I just think at this point, maybe he is too big, and people are willing to just continue to support him regardless. So they said anti-Semitism in all forms is abhorrent, and we recognize the real and personal impact these issues have had. As Kanye said today, he acknowledges that words alone are not enough, and in spite of this, still hopes to be given the opportunity to begin a conversation with the Jewish community in the UK. Well, clearly they didn't care; they didn't want to hear it, and then now we are where we are at this point. Now, pre-sale tickets for Wireless Festival were released in midday on Tuesday and are believed to have sold out, while the general sale was due to open in midday on Wednesday. So when they wrote this, which I saw this was this morning when I read this article. Wait, hold on. Let me check to see when exactly the date of this story was written. Oh yeah, 2 hours ago. So tickets went on sale. Well, I guess they're way ahead of us over in the UK. So, because I think it might be, if I'm not mistaken, because it's Tuesday here, it might be Wednesday over there. I know they're way a couple of hours in advance. I mean, ahead of us. I don't know how many hours, but I know they're ahead of us. But so they released the tickets on Tuesday, which today is Tuesday in the US, and then they were going to release it to the general public on Wednesday, and then now they come to this conclusion. So it just goes to show that the Wireless Festival, y'all were just messy for this. I feel like y'all were sloppy, y'all were unorganized, and now I would never give y'all money after the way y'all just handled this whole situation. So earlier on Tuesday, they said the Home Office told the BBC the rapper had made an application to travel to UK on Monday via an electronic travel authorization, sorry, which is called ETA. It said the decision to refuse permission was made on the grounds that his presence would not be conducive to the public good. Visitors to the UK need an ETA if they do not need a visa for short stays or up to 6 months or do not already have a UK immigration status. Now, responding to the cancellation of Wireless and the festival's latest statement, a spokesman for Campaign Against Anti-Semitism said, with no headliner and multiple sponsors dropping out, Wireless has had to cancel the festival, which was dumb on their part because you should have had a backup. What is it that everybody else was busy performing at Coachella? You couldn't pull somebody to get a couple of people on the festival? They said, now, how did it come to this? Apparently, no concerns were highlighted about Kanye West at the time of the booking. Who were they consulting? A wall? That's what happens when the only shareholders you speak to are those who stand to make a profit. And that goes to show this is a problem that you're confining yourselves to a bunch of stakeholders who are saying, oh, yeah, let's put all our eggs in one basket on one person. And not realizing that while, yes, he does have a hardcore fan base that will come out and support him, there's a larger part of the world who's going to be like, you know what? You're going to try to find a way to fuck up his bag. And he has no one to blame. And there's no one to blame for this but Kanye. If he wasn't running around here saying all this ignorant stuff, knowing full on well that if you can dish your own people. Black people will be forgiven with that, which is sad and unfortunate. The fact that y'all think so highly of yourselves that he could sit and say slavery was a choice, and all y'all will still go buy a damn ticket to see him at the SoFi Stadium or wherever he's performing at. But let him say something that is deemed anti-Semitic. They will come together like Voltron collectively, and they will find a way to ruin every aspect of any kind of comeback you plan on having. And then that's why I was saying before why a lot of times Jewish people get mad because there's this stereotype that looms over them that they rule a lot of powerful situations, which for the most part is not true, but in certain situations it is true in certain type of situations. So when the stereotype becomes the thing, and there's always a little truth to a stereotype. I'm not saying there's all the truth, but there's always a little truth in a little stereotype. Then this is where we are with this situation. So it's like, yeah, they're not forgiving him. You was running around here, you wrote a song called How Hitler, you were selling Nazi imagery on your damn website, and you're wondering why the Jewish community hasn't forgiven you because it's like, oh, you post a whole little long ass, long-winded Trumpian letter on social media and you think all is forgiven? You got to do more than that. You need to tap dance like Nick Cannon. That's what you need to do. So then they went on to, because this is a long ass article and I don't want to go through the whole thing, but they did say this. They said that Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer said on Tuesday Kanye West should never have been invited to headline Wireless. This government stands firmly with the Jewish community, and we will not stop in our fight to confront and defeat the poison of anti-Semitism. We will always take the action necessary to protect the public and uphold our values. Now, Health Secretary Wes Streeting expressed similar sentiments earlier, calling West's apology mealy-mouthed and self-serving, and accusing Wireless of offering the rapper a fig leaf of credibility. And the funny part about this is this isn't the first time he said something anti-Semitic and then did an apology and then went off and went and did a whole nother rant again and said a whole bunch of more crazy stuff and then did another apology. That's the second time he's done this. So it's like, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me right. And to fool me twice, you a dumbass bitch. So it makes I'm not mad at the Jewish community for not forgiving him if he hasn't done the work. And if because they always say when people show you who they are, believe you the first time. And if you're willing to make a change and change your ways and all this other stuff, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. But when you show your entire ass more than once, then it's like, yeah, I'm side eyeing you. I'm not taking anything you say seriously anymore. Meaning, seriously, like I'm not going to trust you. I'm not saying I'm not going to take you serious because if you're saying something as ignorant as what you said about black people and what you said about Jewish people, I'm definitely taking you seriously on that. You can't go from George Bush don't care about black people to be in slavery as a choice and making anti-Semitic comments. That just makes no sense to me. It just makes me wonder, what is your end game? So then they said if he wants forgiveness, it's not my forgiveness he needs. This is what Streeting told Radio 4. It's the forgiveness of the Jewish communities, and I don't think he's done anything to earn it, which is literally what David Schwimmer said in a separate post that I saw floating around online. I don't know if it was an interview or article, or whatever, but I did see that he had said something to this fact. Now, Home Security, Shadow Home Secretary Chris Phillips said West is guilty of appalling anti-Semitic and pro-Nazi comments, and we might have to change that. Not we'll call it Yahtzee. Rhymes with Yahtzee. Pro rhymes with Yahtzee comments and urged Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood to use her powers under the Immigration Act to refuse him a visa. Now, Liberal Democrat leader Sir Ed Davey had also called for West to be banned from entering the UK, while Reform UK leader Nigel Farage said, "Personally, I wouldn't buy a ticket." Now, meanwhile, fans and detractors have been getting in touch with the BBC to voice their views. One fan, Courtney, said, "I bought my ticket in the PayPal pre-sale 3 to 4 days ago. I have looked at flights and accommodation, but my friend, she's been a big Kanye West fan since she was about 13, and she just bought her ticket this morning." Okay, well, how old is she today? Because, ma'am, the Kanye that you knew at 13 is not the Kanye that you know at 25. Now, another person said, "I was really disappointed. Everything that's going on in the UK at the moment when it comes to free speech is absolutely ridiculous." Well, it's free speech, but you also have to. This is what kills me with y'all with the free speech shit. Y'all just think that free speech is you can just say whatever the hell you want to say without consequence. You do know that there's consequences to actions. Now, why do you think the John Wick franchise was as big as it was? There's cause and effect, which is from the Matrix, philosophy, sociology. Every action has a reaction. So when you say something that is bigoted and is geared towards harming a community of people, be it your own people, black folks, or Jewish people, they have a right to feel how they feel if you're going to go and say something remotely anti Semitic, or if you're going to say something remotely racist against your own people. You can't cloak that under freedom of speech. There's a difference with that. But I think a lot of people just hear freedom of speech. They know them 3 words and they think that's just going to be enough, that they could just go off and say whatever the hell it is that they want to say. Now, another by the name of Daniel described himself as a very self-aware fan. They said, "I know that that what he said is definitely not okay, but I feel that people should vote with their money, and if people didn't agree with what he said, then they shouldn't buy tickets." So, are you saying that if somebody goes and buys a ticket to a Kanye West concert, that you're automatically a Nazi? Oh, I forgot. We're supposed to change the name. Yahtzee? Is that what you're implying? Because I don't think you understand the difference. But I do agree with the fact that if you are not a Kanye fan, if you like old Kanye, but you don't like new Kanye, and you don't like all the things that he's been said, you don't know where all this radicalization comes from. Like, is it because you were radicalized? Is it because now once you get to a certain tax bracket, a lot of y'all a lot of you Negroes like to show your entire ass? Like LeBron James tap dancing in front of white people and throwing black folks under the bus. There's a video all about that. Look that up. Recently, or when you have Nicki Minaj coming out and saying some of the things that she said against the community, and it's like once you and Stephen A. Smith, who don't know dick about politics, jumping in the political pool and thinking he knows that, okay, if you become senator, you get voted in. I'm like, what? You don't know the shit about politics, and you literally be showing how uneducated you are in politics whenever you open your mouth. It's just ridiculous, but they love it. They love somebody that's good at the tap dancing, and that's what he does. So for a check. So once you hit a certain tax bracket, that's what it just seems like it is to me. That all of a sudden you lose all sense of logic and reason. Now, they said the government stepping in completely breaks the fact that people should be able to vote with their money. And like I said, at the end of the day, like, I love old Kanye. New Kanye, I don't particularly care for. I'm not listening to Bully. I don't give a good goddamn about all this other stuff. It's just like I'm just too awakened with to be trying to even entertain the bullshit. Like, I feel like I've outgrown all of that mess, and I feel like that I've just such low tolerance for stupidity and dumb bullshit that people say that I can't just. Oh yeah, I'm just so curious that I got to listen to what Kanye. I don't give a fuck what he's saying. I really don't. But if y'all still want to enjoy him, that's your business. That's your prerogative. You go stream him 8 million times on Spotify and Apple Music. You go and pay money to his concerts. I'm not doing that. I got way more better things that I want to spend my money on. But I'm not going to tell other people how to spend their money. But you have to realize these corporations and these other people who are the hires up have a right to be like, we don't want this problematic human being performing in our situations. They have a right to do that. And y'all just be mad. Or better yet, Watch old clips of him on YouTube, watch live concerts of him on YouTube, or just stream Bully. Do that. That'll be as close as you get to see him perform as you can, unless he does another couple more nights at SoFi, and you can buy tickets to that and go jumping around like some 12-year-old, reliving your oats. So yeah, he's apologized, all that good stuff. But there was this one thing before we get up off this that I want to get to that I did read from Variety, where they talk about why the rehabilitation of Kanye West, what it says about America. And I was like, you had a point. So I'm gonna read a little bit of it. So it said it's hard not to imagine that for around 140,000 people, excuse me, over 2 nights. And I think it's because it was 60K every for 2 nights, which would be 140, because SoFi Stadium capacity is 60,000. Over 2 nights at LA SoFi Stadium last week, a sort of collective willful amnesia took place, as if the man on stage had never declared DEFCON 3 to Jewish people, had never said, I love Hitler, I'm a Yahtzee, Jews were better as slaves, and slavery is a choice, had never worn and sold t-shirts emblazoned with a rhymes with Gnostica. There was bald-headed ass, always late, Lauryn Hill, Travis Scott, wide back ass CeeLo Green, and Don Toliver joining the man. Kanye West, also known as Yee, Yeezy, Yay Yay. Okay. On stage, there was Chloe Bailey, that dumb broad, who they were talking about how she was posting videos of herself singing along. And one of my friends said she be out here promoting Kanye, but she can't even promote her own shit. I did laugh when he said, it's like, bitch, you can't even out here promoting your music. Nobody's buying your stuff, but you up in here praising Kanye like he the second coming of Jesus. Now they went on and also said, apparently, at least for those who support for him and wavered, a full-page ad in the Wall Street Journal was all it took to wipe the slate clean. For some, not all, because clearly you just saw that they canceled this concert. In January, West took out an ad in which he apologized for the above and other comments, blaming them on mental illness. Okay, and recently diagnosed head injury. So yeah, I could bash myself upside the head, and all of a sudden I'm gonna just start hating everybody. Further in the rehabilitation, his newish album "Bully," which blatantly has established record label as a partner, debuts at number 2 on the Billboard 200 album charts this week. Meanwhile, you got fake ass, that Instagram blog, because they can't afford to even create their own website. The Neighborhood Talk had the unlitigated gall to go and spread a lie over on their channel and say he got the #1 album in the country. First of all, shout out to the South Koreans, because the person who got the #1 album is BTS. So they're gonna sit up here and tell it correctly, and don't tell it where you try to write a whole paragraph in the headline, and that's where everybody only gets their tea, instead of really understanding that yes, BTS got the #1 album in America. This is the first album that Kanye has released that went straight to number 2. So if you're going to tell your stories, y'all got to get up in here and tell it correctly. And that shit pisses me off when people be up in here just telling half truths because they want to get a certain base going. So now they said, how did he come back so quickly after so many years of divisive behavior and 3 years of hate speech? Yes, he made great music early in his career, which I'll be talking about. In fact, he is the most important and influential popular musician of this century. But without overstating the case, it's all part of a larger narrative about, and this is the part where I say, this is where I feel like it hits the nail on the head. But without overstating the case, it's all a part of a larger narrative about Donald Trump's America, where enough money, fame, and noise can enable a person to be absolved of virtually anything. So I truly believe that that is why Kanye is all of a sudden in everybody's good graces, because he's rich, he has access to everything. He has enough money, he has enough fame, and because controversy, noise, all of that stuff. People live for all of this stuff. The whole algorithm hustling, the baiting, the rage baiting on social media. That's the thing now. That's the thing that gets algorithms jumping. It gets people all riled up. It gets the endorphins going. And I think that that is what is the root of this whole situation. In the current climate that we live in, because this is like a repeat, it's 2.0 of what we got during Trump's term, that when you have enough money, you have enough fame, and you make enough noise, we forget all the things, we excuse all the behavior, and they pull out the little flashlight thingy from Men in Black, put it in front of your face, all is forgotten, and everything is forgiven. And I truly believe that that's where we are. And that's why people are so willing to forgive Kanye for a lot of what he does. Now, he's got a lot more work to do, a lot more groveling that he's got to do in order to get back in good graces and prove to people that he has changed. And I always say you have to show it in your actions if you truly change as a person. You can't just take out a whole full page ad in a newspaper or a magazine or on social media and think that's enough. You have to do the work. And so he's going to have to tap dance a little harder to get in the good graces of these organizations and these Jewish folks. So I feel like that's all I got to say on that for now, but we'll keep her definitely abreast of this story as it develops because I'm sure there's going to be more coming out regarding this whole Kanye situation or if there's going to be any more fallout in the future regarding him trying to get back out there and perform in front of a live audience. But I definitely feel like, you know what? Regardless of how controversial and some of the certain things he said, people should be allowed to vote with their wallet whether or not they want to see the person perform. But I guess it depends on who owns these companies, these organizations, these venues. If they want to have someone like a Kanye West who has made controversial things, and if these people that own these buildings or these organizations or these arenas or certain venues happen to be Jewish and they don't like what he said, now you've affected your money and you've affected your situation because these people don't want you occupying their space. They don't get all money ain't good money, I guess, when it comes to certain people and how crazy you go with your mouth and some of the things that you said and what you've written. So this is just going to be a fallout of, I guess, the repercussions of the things that you said. So I definitely want to hear from you all. What do you guys think of this story? Um, whatever you have to say on this, let me know in the comments down below. For some reason I totally forgot to put this on the whole time. I was going on that on this whole situation, but let me see um what the people are saying. David Schwimmer is a place. I mean, I don't particularly care for David Schwimmer either, but um I don't particularly care for him too because I understand the whole Zionist situation. I side eye him on that, but I was just using him as an example. And I don't like Grace Adler either. Her voice is like nails on a chalkboard. I tune in, as you said, BBC. We talking about the network. We ain't talking about that. Did you hear about a new Courtney Love doc? Courtney said in an interview. Yeah, I heard about that. There was something I think she I heard something or another. She blasted Dave Grohl on something or another. I saw that in passing, but you said the UK. Oh, you said they're 5 or 6 hours ahead. So yeah, it's about midnight over there. Oh yeah, I cannot imagine getting on a plane and going to Australia. The amount of hours it's going to take to get over there, 14 hours. But she said she watches a lot of documentaries on the BBC. While Ye has been forgiven, someone asked, "Where's the same energy for TLC because he voted for Trump and MAGA as well?" Well, I think I pretty much said that before. The other thing is that because money, power, and access, and or controversy, and I think it's because when you look at someone like a Chrisette Michelle, which people are like, how you going to throw her under the bus and her career is ruined, or Chili from TLC's career is ruined for endorsing Trump or whatever, but Kanye isn't. And I said because Kanye has too big of a fan base and has said a lot of controversial stuff in the past. It also could be that he's a male. I don't want to just go into the whole male versus female or because y'all don't respect black women. All of that probably does play a factor in it. But I don't think that's the only thing. I do think it's because he has a larger fan base. TLC, Chrisette Michelle only hits a certain demographic. Black people are the only ones listening to their music. Maybe there's a couple of white people that like TLC, and there's couple of white people that like Chrisette Michelle. But for the most for the most part, I definitely feel like Kanye crosses all demographics. Kids like him, white people definitely like him. That's where probably getting a lot of his bread and butter. Black, old, dirty backpack click heads, because those were the type, when Kanye was coming up in the days of the Roots and Erica Badu and all of that, Kanye was doing that conscious rapping stuff too, the common type stuff. But but he was also experimenting. So he hits all the different demographics. I just don't think Chrisette Michelle and TLC has that broad range of fans. And plus, he's still putting out music. TLC basically is relying on nostalgia and old hits to remain relevant. So there's a lot of factors that I feel like that goes in that. Malcolm X said he couldn't even be anti-Semitic because he would be talking about Arabs too. Vinyl pressings have to start early in the album process because they take 6 months. That's what I said. It's about too early. I'm like, just because they get pressed doesn't mean it's going to get leaked. And it doesn't even matter because you could put CDs or whatever out, or you could send out the digital stuff to to a certain situation. You could send out things to anywhere, and it could in transition it could get leaked. So it's not just the vinyl that people need to be worrying about. And they take 6 months to make. Best-selling artists get top priority, which is why an artist like Taylor can have 7 variants in 3 months. Sailor Mermaid's in the building. Said thank you. Now he has no talent. Some folks just can't fathom that just because you have free speech and do what you want doesn't exempt you from the consequences of your actions. Yeah, people see that out. The only thing about it's like y'all only know half the part, which is okay. Freedom of speech. And they think, oh yeah, freedom of speech. I know that part. Let me just say whatever. I said, yeah, but you can say whatever you want to say, but there's consequences with that. You could lose your job, you could lose your livelihood, you could lose all kinds of things just based off of some of the crazy stuff you just be radicalized stuff you saying out here as a public figure, or worse. You run up on somebody and say something derogatory and they knock your ass out. That's a repercussion of your action. You can't just run around willy nilly, not saying whatever you want about people without consequences. What about him and Kim being photographed with Diddy and Epstein? Well, you can be photographed with people. I need more evidence than a damn picture. Like, where's the evidence? What is I need, stuff that was written that Jeffrey Epstein wrote that had black marks or no black marks, redactions and all that stuff to know what was going on. There's been so many people that have taken pictures with Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein was floating around and knew a lot of elites and was knowing a lot of rich people. Don't necessarily mean they was doing anything with him. He was in the room. I honestly think the number one reason he's been forgiven in the eyes of the industry, it could be that male privilege. His fans that'll listen to anything is another, but I think the former outweighs it in the end. Do you think Kanye is far gone to get help? Well, that's not even up to me to decide. That's up to his doctor if he has one. Um, I need to know what level of his mental health is what it is. But is he too far gone? I don't know. I need to hear an interview from him. I need to hear him talk about something. And if he's still out here just saying some real crazy, cuckoo, whatever stuff, then it's like, boy, what is wrong with you? That's the only way I'll be able to tell, like, what is his state mentally. But I haven't really heard him out. He hasn't really been out here doing interviews. All we know of is that he did a couple of performances, and that was it. But he might be because he did blame it on that car accident. Why his brain is all fucked up. Dave Grohl had to go to therapy 300 times for cheating. I mean, I knew about the cheatation, but I didn't know it was 300 damn times. I worked his Foo Fighters concert. I think it was like 2 years ago. I know you don't live for her, but a Singapore. Don't even get me started because I already had that link sent to me. Um, about chaperone and treatment and all that other stuff. And I was gonna watch it. And then I saw who sent it. I'm like, oh, this looks interesting. I don't know if that was an AI photo of him, but then when I did a closer look, I was like, oh hell no. And I deleted it. I don't care what he got to say. This how I don't like somebody who's like, I don't even care what you gotta say. If I see who it is, I'm chop next. Let me know what he said. And then I'll just respond that way. But I'm not sitting through no 30-minute video of you given whatever type of citation you want to give on that failed drag queen. You said put out an amazing video today comparing the treatment towards Chapel versus Ben, who done far worse. She also compared her to Natalie Maines. From the chicks? He said, came ready to talk. He forgot to put the comment section on the screen. Now I'm rewinding it back. Kanye music fucking great. I can't fucking hate. He only had bad albums recently. Yeah, it was like once he started with the whole crazy whatever, he hasn't put out good music. I haven't liked the last his last couple of albums, so I pretty much moved on from that. But I'm like, he can get a good album. I mean, he got enough ghostwriters to help him write his stuff, and which is kind of annoys me. Y'all are okay with Kanye hiring people to write his shit, but the minute a Cardi B or anybody female has writers or whatever, I'm just saying in general, I'm just throwing it out there. The minute a woman does it, all of a sudden, y'all want to be the gatekeepers of what is real and what is not real hip hop. Like, get off my line with that. Anyway, let's move back. Well, let's move on into the rest of the show. Wait, hold on. Did I make sure? Okay. And let's talk about Michael Jackson and this upcoming biopic that we have coming out that was directed by Antoine Fuqua. And it should be coming out at the end of the month around April 24th. So it's going to take an intimate look into his life and all that other stuff. And what I found funny is that thank you, Variety, for vindicating what I've been saying. Because I had people that were sitting there talking about when I said the reason why the movie had to undergo a set of reshoots is because there was a loophole. Apparently, they didn't read the fine print from the estate that you could make the movie, but you could not base any of the stuff and put it in the film around any of the lawsuits against any of the kids or one of the kids. I don't know if it was one of the kids or all of them. You couldn't use any of the SA accusation stuff. So they used one of them, filmed the whole thing as part of the film, and literally after there was we can't use this, so they had to literally cut all of that out and do a reshoots, which I heard was costing between 10 to 15 million dollars. So let's get into that story because Variety went into full detail on it. So I was like, I feel vindicated because I said this a year ago and people was out here calling me a damn lie, but they're actually saying it in the article. So let's get into her. So Michael, the story of Michael Jackson rise to superstardom was supposed to begin in medias res with one of the darkest chapters of the singer's life. In one scene from the film's original script, the king of pop stares at his reflection in the mirror capturing, oh, he was trying to be the man in the mirror, see if he was going to make a change. They said capturing his sorrowful gaze as police car lights flash behind him. It's 1993, a decade after Thriller gripped the culture, and Jackson had just been accused of child molestation. You got to be careful with some of the stuff and with these YouTube algorithms. But the sequence with the investigators who arrive at Neverland Ranch to search for evidence is one of the many that were left on the cutting room floor. Michael, which Lionsgate will release in the United States on April 24th, was supposed to explore the impact of the allegations on Jackson's life, with much of the third act devoted to the scandal. But that finale was scrapped along with a mention of the child the SA accusations. We'll just have to call it that. According to sources with knowledge of the production. Now, that's after attorneys for the Jackson estate, which served as a producer, realized there was a clause in a settlement with one of the singer's accusers, Jordan Chandler, that barred the depiction or mention of him in any movie. After the late stage recovery, filmmakers went back to the drawing board to come up with a new ending, which after I read what it is, I'm like, this movie is going to be trash. But anyway, they said the process was further delayed after the house of screenwriter John Logan was damaged in the Palisades fire. As a result, which had been scheduled to land in theaters on April 18, 2025, was delayed to October 3rd before moving a final time to spring of 2026. Now, last June, the cast reassembled for 22 days of additional photography to shoot the new third act and flesh out scenes earlier in the movie. Production restarted in LA, but didn't qualify for any state tax rebates, which added 10 million to 15 million to the budget. According to sources with knowledge of similar projects, Michael was greenlit for $155 million. Yet I'm hearing stories that Universal didn't want to give Madonna $100 million to do her biopic. I'm like, but you giving this movie $155 million, and it probably is way more than that. Y'all better hope this movie makes its money back. But for what I'm hearing, that opening weekend thus far is going to be pretty big for this movie. The Jackson estate shouldered those extra costs because the era necessitated the changes. It was like, yeah, if you would have caught that in the beginning, we wouldn't have had to go and spend an extra amount of money. I wonder if this is why parents had to be taking them to court. It's like, well, wait a minute. So now y'all pulling money out of the estate to fund this little vanity project that's not being 110% truthful about my father. So then they said because it was willing to foot the bill, the estate had an equity stake in the film, according to another individual with knowledge of the production. Now, instead of concluding with one of the most ignominious moments in Jackson's career, Michael will end with the pop star still at his zenith. The last scene is set during Jackson's Bad tour, following him as he prepares to take the stage for another electrifying performance, according to sources who has seen the finished film. Indeed, the movie leans heavily into Jackson's music, featuring one showstopper after another, and away from his sometimes bizarre personal behavior, where they said it does include a sweet moment where Jackson buys toys for kids in the hospital. So basically, in this movie, what y'all trying to tell me is that we're just going to be getting a whole bunch of fan service of Michael buying toys and Michael being, Mr. Congeniality and all that. And y'all really think I'm gonna spend $20 on this shit? This is one of the exact reasons, and I said this, why I hated Bohemian Rhapsody. Because y'all decided to queer wash everything about Freddie Mercury and try to make it like, oh, he was just a man that liked pussy, and then all of a sudden he in one scene he winds up in a damn glory hole in some public bathroom like he George Michael. And I'm sitting there like, really? This is the bullshit y'all selling people? And of course, Rami Malek gets an Oscar and the movie makes $100 something million in the box office. Because when you remove all the things that's gonna offend certain people in certain countries, then you'll make your money. So that's what this is all about. So it's fan service. We're just gonna see Michael Jackson doing his nephew, his Timu Michael, basically Jafar, up in there giving Michael performances, rejudged for a new audience, which is going to probably be like Michael the Musical, that you can go on Broadway to see that, and we're just going to be seeing a rejudgification of his hits. So where's the mess? Where's the drama? I mean, isn't that what we're supposed to get with a biopic? I don't want to watch a 2.5 hour long form music video, which means I'm not going to see this. Now, I do want to see the movie. And let's be clear about that. I do want to see the film, but I don't know. Based off of this article, it kind of got me annoyed. So maybe I just need to calm down and go see the movie for myself, and then just and then come back with my own conclusion instead of just based off this article about, oh, it ends at the Bad tour. And so I guess maybe they're thinking in this way that if the movie does well at the box office, which we know it will, they'll be like, we'll do us a part two and do it kind of like Doom part one, Doom part two, Doom part three. Then we get the Michael movie, we get the rest of it. And we'll see how deep down the rabbit hole they're willing to go with the other stuff and what can they cover and what they can't cover. So there's clauses, and make sure you dot all your I's and cross all your T's, so we'll know what clauses can be used, so that way we won't there won't be any more issues. So yeah, and then they also said that in the new version, the dramatic tension comes from the singer's relationship with his domineering father, Joe Jackson, who doesn't want his son's solo career to come at the expense of the Jackson Five, the Motown group that put the family on the map. The film will also explore Jackson's recovery from the severe scalp burns he received from a pyrotechnic accident during the filming of a 1984 Pepsi commercial, including the painkillers he started to abuse during that period. So I guess we'll just focus more on the abuse he endured at the hands of his domineering father, played by Coleman Domingo, and him wanting to find his own voice outside of the Jackson Five, who solely depended on Michael because he was the lead singer, and the rest of the Jacksons were playing all the instruments and dancing in lockstep like they was Belle Biv DeVoe or something. Even though, or I was going to say New Edition, but New Edition came in the 80s. Where the Jackson Five came in the 70s, way before I was born. So, I guess we'll just begin on that, and then him with the painkillers after the burns and all of it. So it'll give us a little Lifetime stuff, but the dive into the wacko jacko stuff, I guess we're just gonna have to rely on old documentaries and things for that. Because we're not going. I don't think we'll be getting that with this movie. Now they said Janet Jackson, the performer's famous sister, is not a character in the movie, according to another insider. So y'all didn't even put Janet in there at all. And remember that there was a story that was going around that stated that Janet saw the film and was upset by what was in the movie, which some people went on to say, well, her friend Gil basically said, that's a lie. So they also said Jackson's estate has been consulted on production decisions, and its reps, as well as Jackson's son Prince, who served as executive producer, were a daily presence on set. The artist's other two children, BG and Paris, haven't been involved. Jackson's attorney, John Branca, and estate archivist Karen Langford handled many of the discussions with the studio. Though Jackson is one of the most popular musicians in history, he remains a controversial figure. His estate is aware of the shadow cast by multiple child abuse allegations against the singer, according to knowledgeable execs. Jackson always asserted his innocence. However, the estate was encouraged by the global success of the jukebox musical. And did not say this is literally going to be a live action version of the musical on Broadway, which opened. Excuse me, which opened on Broadway in 2022 and embarked on a nationwide tour in 2023. The show, which pointedly ends just before the 1993 allegations break, gave Jackson's team confidence the public will be willing to embrace a sympathetic look at him. It's one of only four new musicals since the pandemic that's still running, and it has grossed over 300 million on the at the Broadway box office. The estate, I think, also the kid from On My Block is playing Michael Jackson. The estate also considered the popularity of the Cirque du Soleil show one in the 2009 concert film This Is It. Now, back in 2024, producer Graham King told exhibitors at CinemaCon, which is next week, by the way, he'd been preparing the movie for years, interviewing hundreds of people who knew Jackson as he determined how to condense the performer's life into a single film because the original cut was more than 3.5 hours. King hopes to turn Michael into a two-part story. Lionsgate and Universal, which is overseeing international distribution, believe there's enough material for at least one more movie. The studio suggests roughly 30% of the material that was jettisoned from Michael could be reconstituted for potential sequels. It's unclear how future films would handle the legal battles and abuse allegations that consume much of Jackson's final years. King has told the studio he would focus on the singer's later albums, including 1991's Dangerous and 2001's Invincible, the purchase of construction of Neverland Ranch, as well as his love of animals. Well, as long as y'all can make it interesting, y'all have to steer clear of the wacko jacko stuff because y'all can't touch that because of legality. If y'all can find a way to make all the rest of the footage, manageable, usable, and tell a much bigger story, I would love for them to dive deep into the Dangerous album. Oh, wait. No, dive into history because we need to know about the team going around with Jew me, sue me, everybody do me, kick me, kite me, don't you black or white me. I need behind the scenes on that and what Michael was going through with the record label and all that other stuff. Y'all need to dive deep into that. And Tom Snedden is a cold man. Remember that? And all the little controversy was coming out when he came out and told his story regarding everything that was going on with his personal life and the tabloids coming at him and all the allegations. I feel like that there needs to be a deep dive into that. And the people that he worked on with that album, consult with them and get inside his head and let us know what was Michael thinking and what were the ideas that was going about and get into that and bring that into the movie. So um one of the things I've always said, like I said before, I always have a disdain for biopics because I feel like biopics don't really get to the root of the stuff. It's always all about fluff and sensationalism. And if y'all want to play it safe, I guess, and just have us live in our nostalgia bag, which there's a lot of movies that's coming out now that's heavily relying on nostalgia, then I guess that's what they're gonna give the people. I mean, I would have liked for there to be a little more, mess in the gumbo, a little more spice in the gumbo. But if they can't touch certain things, then okay. But I definitely would like to understand what was his psyche of like why would he do, why was he in the hyperbolic chamber? Why was he, Bubbles the chimp and all the little weird things that he was doing and the wacko jacko stuff? Like I would like them to dive deeper that, even if you don't want to get into the whole child abuse allegations that is still plaguing him to this day because people are still coming at Michael even when he's been 6 feet under for almost 20 years and making accusations of abuse from the past and he's not even here to defend himself. Even with those things still haunting him in the afterlife, there's got to be other things that we could explore in that whole situation if you can't touch any of that. So while it's shout out to Variety for this article, I'm still a little bit skeptical on how all of this stuff is. But I will say this. They said that Michael will open to more than 55 million at the domestic box office, which will be above 2018's smash hit, the movie I told you I hated, Bohemian Rhapsody, which came in at 51 million. And the same guy who wrote both scripts. Initial ticket sales could climb even higher as the release date nears. In where they said direct comparisons are tough because Bohemian Rhapsody, which ended up earning a massive 910 million worldwide, was released before the pandemic, and post-COVID music biopics like A Complete Unknown and Springsteen Delivered Me from Nowhere with smaller scale productions. Well, nobody was particularly caring about Complete Unknown. Wasn't that the movie about that Timothy Chalamet was in? That was about Bob Dylan. Nobody want to hear his horrible singing ass. And the Springsteen movie, first of all, I know a lot of people was pissed off with how they put that movie together and felt that Jeremy Allen White did not even have the essence. And I'm not saying that you need to necessarily look like Bruce Springsteen, but at least capture the essence of that character. And I don't feel like Jeremy Allen White, as good of an actor as I think he is, captured the essence of Bruce Springsteen. But post pandemic, I will say this: 2026 has proven to be one of the biggest years thus far, and we're only 4 months into the new year regarding ticket sales and how much money their movies are making to the box office. Scream 8 made a shit ton of money. Mario Brothers, even though people are panning that film and felt like the movie's not that great, it's not as good as the first one, made a shit ton of money at the box office. We have so many movies that came out so far this year that has been doing well financially for the box office. The box office has been rejuvenated. And even that new movie, The Drama, with Zendaya and Robert Pattinson, I heard did a pretty well at the box office. So people are going to the movies. And post pandemic, the movie theaters are starting to pick up, and I think we have a lot more movies that's going to be coming out later this year. So many good movies that I'm looking forward to seeing this year coming out. And so the it's I think we're back in the theaters, but I'll definitely, instead of because I know I went off earlier on this whole thing, but I definitely feel like I will check the movie out for myself, and I'll give you my overall thoughts about it when it comes out. But I'm still a little skeptical and side eyeing, and got one toe in and my other toe out in regards to how I feel about the whole situation. But I'm like, I don't know. I'm skeptical, is what I'll just say on that. I'm cautiously optimistic, I guess is the word I'll use. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story based off of what I read to y'all? Because they talking about the studio is hoping that Michael will gross at least 700 million worldwide. Now, if it does, if it makes that money, he'll probably be able to moonwalk across the screen once again, and we'll get a sequel. And maybe they'll dive deeper into the thing. But I feel like if y'all going to dive deep and get into some of the grittier stuff, then y'all need to make sure the state reads the fine print on what they can and cannot talk about in regards of Michael with whatever deal he was making with these kids that was out here accusing them of being inappropriate with them while they was underage. So I'll definitely keep my eye on everything going this movie. And like I said, I'll see the movie when it comes out. But I definitely want to hear from y'all. Will you guys be going to see Michael when it comes out? And after hearing what I read to y'all about the whole switch ups and things that they had to come up with at the last minute, what do you think? Do you think the movie's gonna be good, or are you thinking that okay, now y'all kind of being a little hesitant and walking on eggshells because y'all can't go too deep into the dirt? So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Allegedly. Um, Kanye, he does have ghostwriters. And this would rather just copy the Max video, which was too probably. I don't put nothing past a lot of these YouTubers. A lot of people be running around here stealing people's shit and trying to pass it off as their own, or trying to do their own version of it. I like some shit on Donda, but everything else after was a train wreck. The Swiftologist actually made some original points. He quoted Susan Faluti's Backlash, an undeclared war against American women, and made the analogy towards other far more problematic artists. And here's the thing: you can watch other, because I do the same thing. I'll watch other YouTubers and I'll be inspired by their videos, and I'll give my own little personal take on stuff that they've said. And I'll make my own video on it. I don't believe in the whole like I'm gonna just rip off other people's stuff, which they are doing out here. And Andy Signor from Popcorn Planet posted this the other day, what is like a lot of YouTubers are being affected by AI because you have AI people, and he showed a perfect example of this, how they're going in, they're copying and pasting other people's work, putting a little AI situation over it, even like literally copying their scripts, because YouTube does keep a script of like everything you say, they're copying all of that and storing it. So they'll copy the little script or whatever, put it in the whole AI machine, and then we'll put, and then I have a create an AI video over it, and that'll get more eyes on the program than what we're doing over here. And so a lot of us who are actually taking time and hours as independent contractors, which a lot of us are on YouTube, it takes hours for me to, like today. It's well, normally when I do a show, it literally takes me like 4 to 5 hours to put the show together because I'm looking for the topics, I'm converting a lot of things. I gotta I gotta get the pictures, I gotta create the banners, I gotta create all of these things, the headlines, the lower thirds, all of that. So it takes, when you don't have a team of people to help you with theirs, where I just show up and like, here's a couple of stories I want to do, send it to the producer puts it all together, I'm paying them. That was what I used to do. Now I'm doing the shit myself. Plus programming all the buttons, reading all the comments, doing all that stuff. So when you're an independent contractor, it's not, it's a lot. So when we're working our ass off trying to create content for people, and you have AI coming in just literally stealing our shit, and then there's somebody from India goes and takes our stuff, and they getting 50K, or if I'm doing a short form version of what I just put together, that money could have been going in my pocket. That's a Michael, I'll pass. I've yet to deep dive Janet Jackson's brother's music. And funny enough, I know this might be controversial to say, even though I grew up on Michael Jackson, I was more of a Janet fan than I was a Michael fan. I just think it was because, she was fearsome with her dancing. She was always evolving as an artist. Michael always kind of gave you the same old, all that the militant outfits, the Jerry curl, the same choreography. Like Michael didn't really, in my opinion, evolve enough. He did little things here and there, but he was just never like that. Um, he was never like that big artist to me. I liked some of his stuff, but I was not a big Michael fan. I also don't see that many people my age excited about it. It'll be interesting to see if Gen Z will actually go in and see the movie. I mean, but like I said, this might be a nostalgia thing because a lot of like my generation, we all grew up on Michael Jackson, so we'll be the ones in theaters, and parents might take their kids to go see it. 10 million is a mess. It's funny how it costs that so much money just to do a new version. Yes, I love me some Coleman Domingo out here playing Joe Jackson. I don't know what they can do. Jordan went into hiding, making it hard to seek removal of the one-sided NDA. Something Baldoni was why there's no settlement. I remember when I was a little kid, they would still show the Jackson 5 cartoon. Oh, yeah, I used to watch the Jackson 5 cartoon. Millennials, Gen X, and baby boomers are excited. Gen Z believes he was a predator because that's all they grew up with. An image. The Michael biopic is for older audiences, which is why I mean, same thing with Bohemian Rhapsody. A lot of older people went to go see that. They made $900 million at the box office, and possibly the highest grossing film of the year. I'm getting tickets for 3 screenings this payday. Damn, you going to see it 3 times? I'm thinking once is gonna be enough to me. When Detective Latoya went on a smearing campaign wearing Michael's signature aviators, she even called him an F slur. But now when you look at Detective Latoya, she the same size as Kelly Osbourne. She better tread lightly. He was an older gen is excited because like he became a huge star when he died. So yeah, I mean Michael Jackson was always a huge star. Like you said, older Gen Z. But Michael was always a big star. Yeah, Michael Jackson is one of the rare artists who could pop out on stage and stand there for 20 minutes and people start passing out. Men, women, and everybody in between. No other artist could do that. I think the closest of people who could do that is Beyonce. But other than that, Michael Jackson was somebody who just jump out on that little hydraulics shit, pop out on stage in them penny loafers and them high water pants and stand in one spot with them shades on, and people would lose their mind. I'm more excited for a complete unknown than this, but that's because I'm a Bob Dylan fan. The actual biopic itself was booty cheeks. That's what I said. I was like, nobody cared about that movie. So for y'all to sit and compare a complete unknown, which Timothy Chalamet thought he was going to win an Oscar for, and the Springsteen movie to Michael, I'm like, apples and oranges. First of all, it's a bigger budget behind it. It's going to be a lot flashier. And when you do a movie on Michael Jackson, you can't the budget for that movie can't be like 20 to 25 million. You can't make an independent film. You can't give an independent film budget to a Michael movie, just like you can't give an independent film budget to a Madonna biopic. Madonna has been around for 4 decades. She don't, and I don't even think you could do her as a movie or a movie with sequels like they're trying to do with Michael Jackson. That's got to be a series. The Super Mario Brother movie had a lot of Easter eggs from the old games. I saw it Saturday. Yeah, but from what you said, I'm sick of biopics. I'm looking forward to Supergirl. No shade, but I'm not really. I mean, I'll go see it when it comes out. But so far, I've been kind of underwhelmed with the trailer. I was having this conversation with friends of mine the other day. I've been underwhelmed with that trailer, and you know what I was really looking forward to, but I've been underwhelmed by their trailers as well. Masters of the Universe. I've been underwhelmed by that trailer too. And word on the curb is in a post credit scene, which I'm annoyed by. If this turns out to be true, they said that they're gonna give that Orko was gonna make an appearance. You couldn't have put Orko in the whole fucking movie. Why I gotta wait to see him in a post credit scene? Oh, y'all still trying to perfect his CGI look. Like I don't understand what y'all gotta put him in the whole movie. Why we gotta wait until the post credit or the mid credit scene? We need to see whether or not Michael consummate. No, that'd be the least thing I care about. It says, spoiler alert, he did not consummate the relationship with Lisa Marie. Well, you think they did like, and then they said that like the Jews, they cut a hole in the sheet. And that's how they fucked, if at all. I've noticed that Gen Z is fond of critically acclaimed albums from you. Wait, did you say from you or your? Well, you said Rayalite, Confessions, Erotica, The Velvet Rope, Thriller, Abbey Road, but struggle to like anything else from that artist. So you think it's that they basically just jump on the bandwagon of what was trending or what was popular instead of just liking the music for what it was or the artist? AI is intellectual property theft and artistic theft all the way down. Absolutely. That's why we got to click those 3 dots at the top, which they tell us so we don't get no AI slop. Gen Z will tear it to shreds and call it romanticizing up. Yeah, they just might. And yes, he was. Well, you said Madonna hates it because she can. Black love is in the building. She only makes fairies faint. Not saying that. Oh, you said that Madonna hates it because what? She can't make people pass out when she get on the stage. The Mario movie was pleasant to watch, but the story structure and writing needs more attention. But other than that, yeah, that's why. That basically what you said is what a lot of people have been saying. Baby Bowser Jr. was sure he deserved Baby Yoda. Well, yeah, they could have did well, you saying Orko, they could have did the whole Grogu treatment. Yeah, y'all could have did a little puppeteer situation. The Supergirl actress is getting dragged, but James Gunn is getting dragged. Well, right now she's filming a movie with Charlie XCX in Japan. Takashi Miike is directing it. A little horror movie, which I'm looking forward to. And I heard Faces of Death comes out this week. I might actually go see that. Which I'm hearing is getting it's getting good reviews from the people who I watch on YouTube is saying that they saw it. Killjoy Jake, who hated Scream 7, and for the most part, he is a Scream fan, but he hated that movie, said this was good. So I might actually go see that. So you said, but James Gunn is getting dragged because it's woke, but the same crowd is forgiving. Well, I don't know why you somehow it's woke. First of all, it's based on the Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow graphic novel. So I don't understand why people are getting to my it's woke. Clearly, you didn't read that graphic novel because that's what they based this movie on. But it's just the color palette, the trailer. It's just not selling me. That's the only thing. And so when they showed that fight scene at the end of the second trailer, I'm like, okay, now y'all pulling me in. I don't know. Maybe the movie is going to be better than the trailer. Because, sometimes you'll watch a trailer and like, the trailer is crap. But then when you see the movie, it's like, oh, but the movie's good. Veronica was mixed reception. It's only now getting praised. Well, that whole era, she was kind of dragged. The sex book and us Penny Loafers is a gag. Yeah, once upon a time I had a pair. But that's most video game films because you have to understand the lore. but she was told to shut the fuck up, even though she says she can't stop internet haters. Well, it is what it is. All right, now speaking of the Jacksons, we got some more Jackson news. So let's talk about Paris Jackson's brother, Blanket, who apparently is getting himself involved. Well, Blanket BG, I don't know, Prince Michael Jackson II. I don't know what is this child's name. He's got a lot of them, but apparently him and his legal team are apparently unsuccessful. They said in their attempt to resolve their bitter battle with their late father's estate. So there's still some type of drama going on with this whole family situation. And without further ado, let's get into this mess that's going on with them. So it says Paris Jackson's younger brother Blanket appears to have entered the fray in the battle between his sister and the co-executors of their late father Michael Jackson's estate. Executors John Branca and John McClain said Monday in legal docs interviewed by Daily Mail or reviewed by Daily Mail that Paris, who's 28, caused the deal to crumble that she and her brother Blanket, 24, and Prince, 29, had previously agreed to late last month. The team for Blanket, now known as BG, child, why would you call your child Blanket? It's because you wrapped them in a blanket and almost dropped them off a balcony. Um, Where was I? Because now after I read, I lost my place. Okay, so now the team for Blanket, now known as BG, were keen to iron out a pact agreeable to all parties, lawyers for the executive said in court filings. The executors said Monday that they believed they had reached an agreement spearheaded by the efforts of counsel for BG Jackson, who stated in email communications that he spoke for all three siblings and their counsel on the issue. Things took a turn, the executors said in the filing, when lawyers for Paris inexplicably reversed their position entirely and reneged on the agreement that was acceptable to all the parties. And also, I should let it be known the Daily Mail did reach out to reps for both parties, but I don't think they heard anything back. Now, Paris pulled out of the deal just when it was about to close, the executors said in court filings, insisting on a list of demands radically different from the parties had seemingly agreed on just a week prior. The issue revolved around the systems used for the accounting, which Paris has said in court filings she felt needed more oversight. Now, one of the stipulations noted that in the revised pact that was an agreement from the executors to gain approval of the court for all bonus payments submitted to law firms and do work for the estate according to the court filing. The executors said they are open to earlier proposal, but not the one Paris set forth. They added they have never violated any court orders, and this court has never held otherwise. A source close to Paris told the Daily Mail on Monday that from the moment she filed an objection, Paris Jackson had been the victim of disgusting, outrageous smear campaign by the executors and their attorneys. Well, if this is all true, girl, I need you to prove all this, just like I need you to prove that they're mishandling and mismanaging the money. Now, these lawyers are using Jackson family resources to mock, belittle, and attack her for demanding transparency and accountability for people who control every aspect of her family's finances. I'm wondering, is there ever a thing where it was written, or did Michael not have a will that at a certain age, the kids probably will have a say so in like being the official executors who get to make business decisions on their father's behalf? Or is it the fact that they don't really, I mean, based off of what they're trying to make it out with Paris, with her flip flopping on certain decisions, that she don't know dick about business. So they feel like they need to have these actual executors who are well versed in this type of thing, let them handle it. And then we just, going back and forth with the kids and the executors, and yeah, they get a piece of the pie. They getting to live luxurious off of their father's coin. But we get to make the executive decisions at the end of the day because we actually know what we're doing. So they said that the notion that a comprehensive agreement was close to happening, according to the source, was misleading. To be clear, there was never any deal on the table from the party that would have settled all issues between Paris and the executors. The source said that when there was a proposal regarding attorney compensation, the executors and their well compensated attorneys fought to water it down with exceptions and loopholes that would render it unworkable. Which I'll be like, get your own lawyers to read your stuff. So if they trying to come at y'all with any kind of compensation or with any kind of um proposal, whatever the case is, you have your lawyers look it over. If they notice any kind of loopholes or any kind of slick mess they trying to slither up in there, then contest it. Their demands would have allowed executives and those same attorneys to continue operating without any accountability. Now, Michael Jackson passed away at the age of 50 on June 25th, 2009, after suffering a heart attack in the LA mansion he was living in. They said cardiac arrest. Child's a heart attack. Um, Authorities in February 2010 deemed his death as a result of acute propofol intoxication. Now, Jackson had been administered the powerful drug by his personal doctor, Conrad Murray, who told investigators that the singer called the substance, which he took via an IV drip, milk, and said he needed it to sleep. And that was the weird part about artists, that when you are a creator and you're high on that adrenaline, that once you have been performing and you're someone who's a constant creator, it's hard to kind of come down from that adrenaline rush, that high. So you need things in place to help put you to sleep. And unfortunately, he should have been consulting actual people that could have helped him come down instead of, oh, I got to undergo IV drips in order to help me sleep. And it ended up killing him. Okay, so now they're getting into this whole thing about when they were kids and all other stuff, but um we don't need to get into all of that. Shout out to Michael Jackson. Hopefully they work out what they need to work out, but this whole situation is just getting messier and messier and crazier. I didn't even know that Blanket was getting himself involved in a whole situation where they were trying to say they were trying to resolve the bitter battle. And I don't think what I was trying to understand was that, okay, so they tried to reach an agreement spearheaded by the efforts of counsel, and you're saying that you're speaking on all three of your siblings, but I thought that Paris had her own attorneys where she was having her own little separate thing going on. But now he's coming and saying, I'm speaking for everybody. And then now we recently just heard that Prince was the one, I believe the only one, that was a consultant and an executive producer on this biopic that's coming out. So it seems to be that all three of the kids seem to be on their own little journey in regards of what's going on with the money and the executors and behind the scenes business. It's like they all are doing their own thing on, at the behest of Michael Jackson's legacy and his money. Because remember, I believe they said he was $500 million in debt when he died, which is crazy. And they've been able, the executives have been able to turn it around and turn a profit for the Jackson estate. So they couldn't have been out here doing any kind of crazy stuff. They've been able to do that. But according to Paris, she's saying that they've been kind of skimming off the top a little bit and taking money they ain't supposed to be and that they're not entitled to. So I guess I'll continue to keep abreast of this story as it develops. But in the meantime, I definitely want to hear from y'all. What do you think of this story regarding, the Jackson children and the mess surrounding all this man's money and the estate and all that good stuff? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. Mm-mm, 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 mm-mm. It's Blanket Bio Kids. He kind of looks like Michael in that picture. Quiet as it's kept. I've heard that some people said that he might be the only one that is biologically his. Them other two, Prince and Paris, I don't know who Harpo, who kids are those? Because I don't know. I was trying not to go there, but somebody had to bring. He said, "Notice how Prince is the only one on the estate side because he's benefiting from most." Probably. That's why I said it's like he's keeping quiet and he's benefiting because yeah, he's the oldest and he's complying and he's going along to get along. And like I was saying before, he is an executive producer on this movie. But I'm sitting there like, y'all weren't even alive to know much about your father's past, yet y'all speaking on his behalf because y'all were all little when he died. Blanket is, yeah, I got what you mean. He said they don't get the pie till they turn. Oh, Jesus, why so old? He said that's the problem Paris has. The age thing is bad. She said, "I gotta wait till half a damn century. I'm a half century old in order for me to have to get the money. Because I would have been like 25 or 30. Like, I would have been like, okay, 30 years old. I'd have been like, that's when they get the money. And she's like, what, 27? So she would have had to wait 3 more years. Like that's what I would have did. I would have been like, okay, y'all get y'all inheritance or whatever the case is when you turn 30. In the meantime, you get a little stipend, but I'll give you your inheritance to be able to do what you want at that age. 50 seems a bit much. Michael told them kids to not let people mess with their coin. And if they mess with the coin, that's why I said prove all that in the court. Street saying they took out Michael just how the child. Because Whitney went out like Whitney and Bobby Christina went out the same way in that bathtub. He said same thing with Prince, the artist. He died of not being able to turn off his mind. And let me tell you, when you can't turn your mind off, which has been an issue that I would have at times. Oh, it's a mother effort when it's like you cannot sleep and your brain is going a mile a minute. And I try not to resort to drugs with that. But people are like, you need to smoke weed and you need to do this. Like, why drugs always got to be an answer for y'all? For what I've observed, the critically acclaimed albums that have a story and legacy are popular for my generation, and even a pan album like not Glitter Child. But look, people do have a sore spot for glitter. I also feel Prince also made sure Paris was taken off the. Oh, that's messy if that's true. And he said because yeah, wasn't she a heroin addict? Saying that was against the will of the estate made, aka blood money, like they said. Remember that story too? That Catherine was the executor. I don't know. Look, at this point, I am hella confused as to who has what kind of who's the executor. Because I did hear at one point that it was Catherine, and wasn't it BG took Catherine to court? I said, "Oh, y'all going against Miss Piglet Grandma now? Y'all going against her? We're not going against Lady Polio. Y'all need to leave her alone. Leave Catherine alone. Let Catherine do what she doing." And y'all taking your own damn grandmother to court. To me, that was grimy. So it's like 20-year-olds are unstable with absolutely. That's how they get into addictions or spending sprees. And yeah, at one point, Paris had a drug addiction. Virgo restless, exactly, because Michael was a Virgo. You said Virgo restlessness. hmm Yeah, melatonin, definitely. I've heard about melatonin, never used it, but yeah. Damn, if Michael Jackson dollars was in 500 mil in debt, then half of those people are not millionaires or close to it. That's why most of the geniuses are dead because Prince wouldn't sleep until he recorded all the music was like full albums. That's why it's like when it's hard to turn that creativity off. What was Prince, a Gemini? Because if he was, then it was like makes perfect sense. But yeah, Michael Jackson was a Virgo. He was an August Virgo, but he was a Virgo. But anyway, okay. Let's get back into the show. And let's talk about Off Cheat. So Off Cheat running around here got powed in the ass. Well, they said in the ass. Some people saying it was the leg, but apparently he was at a casino. I don't know what he was doing at the casino. I'm assuming gambling. And yeah, so he was up in the situation and he ended up getting pow. And they trying to say that little Tjay was the one that may have had something to do with the situation because he ended up getting arrested in Florida following the high profile powing. So Lil TJ was arrested for disorderly conduct for getting into a fight in Florida on Monday evening. The same night, Off Cheat was shot in the valet. I mean, at the valet outside. Sorry, I'm supposed to say pow. At the valet outside the nearby Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino. However, the 24-year-old can't change rapper who survived being pow 7 times in 2022 was not involved in the pow-powing of the 34-year-old Migos alone, saying, quote, "We are issuing this release in regards of false rumors that Lil TJ was involved in a shooting," Lil TJ's attorney, Don M. Florio, said in a statement on Tuesday. Lil TJ has not been pow nor has Lil TJ been charged with any pow-powing. Any reporting to the contrary is false. Now, in a statement to the Daily Mail, the Seminole Police Department said 2 individuals have been detained by police. The investigation is ongoing. The site is secure and there is no threat to the public. Operations continue as normal. Now, Offset-born Kiari Kendrell Cephas was still recovering from his non-life-threatening injuries at Memorial Regional Hospital in Hollywood, Florida. We can confirm he was pow-powed and is currently in the hospital receiving medical care, the three-time Grammy nominee's rep told the Daily Mail on Tuesday. He is stable and being closely monitored. Now, witnesses say the fashion icon, rapper had been standing near the entrance and looking out toward the valet area while taking a call when fans approached him. Offset was said to have smiled and shaken hands with the fans, and he allegedly stopped to talk with them and posed for some photos shortly before the pow-powing started. The Georgia native is the father. Child, here y'all go. The Georgia, y'all are so messy with this, but we got to keep going with the article. The Georgia native is the father of 6 children with 3 different women. Here y'all go with this mess, including estranged wife Belcalis Almanzar, aka Cardi B, who filed for divorce in 2024 after 6 years of marriage. Now, it's unclear if Offset will be well enough to perform his next scheduled concert in May 9th at the Experience Live Event Center in Orlando, Florida. It's April 7th. It's May 9th is the performance. It's a month away. He'll be fine. He could limp his way across that damn stage with a good old cane and a microphone, and he'll be fine. It's not like he could be up there doing choreography. He could just get up there. Y'all could do him like y'all did. Remember when Michael Jackson broke his foot and he had to? You can put him in a chair and he could rap the whole time, or somebody could wheel him around the wheelchair if he can't walk. Now, the pow powing came nearly 4 years after he suffered the loss of Migos bandmate Takeoff, who passed away at age 28 after being pow multiple times in the head, Jesus, and torso outside 810 billiards, and bowling in Houston. However, the 24-year-old can't change rapper who survived being pow 7 times in 2022 was not involved in the shooting. Wait, why am I reading the same thing again? Oh yeah, and then Dawn Florio did put out a big statement um where she said we encourage people to consult trusted. Well, I'm not going to read the whole thing because we read everything that she pretty much said already. But the last part was we encourage people to consult trusted news sources and to verify the accuracy of any reporting before reflexively sharing or repeating baseless rumors. But the question remains, and there's a method to the madness of why I posted this messy picture. If y'all don't know how messy we get on this show, um, if that's the case, then why was little TJ arrested? If he had nothing to do with the situation, is it because y'all know that maybe he had some beef? Because the word on the curb was that little TJ had gave Offset some money because he was down on his luck or whatever the case was. Because y'all know, allegedly, Offset has a gambling problem. Even Cardi B has alluded to this. I saw even this morning, Ebro on his show basically said that he placed a bet on the Super Bowl with Offset and he owes him $5,000 and some sort of something or another. So Offset got his. I guess he does have a. Look, him and Kim Zolciak need to get together. At least they got that in common. They have a thing for gambling away whatever it is that they gambling, and him not being with Cardi B anymore, he can't gamble away her coins. So um, I don't know if that is the catalyst of why all of this transpired, but I'm sure that down the road, because it doesn't make sense. If little TJ had nothing to do with any of this stuff, then why was he arrested and why is he being affiliated with what's going on with Offset? So Patrick Xavier Clark, they said, faces 25 years of life in prison after being indicted by a Texas grand jury in 2020. Okay, he's talking about the thing with Takeoff being, unalived. So I don't know why this article is getting caught up in all of this. And I know his other bandmate from the Migos sent out a prayer emoji on social media for um Offset to get better. So in the meantime, I guess it's inconclusive because I just don't understand. I need more information regardless of why was Lil TJ brought up in this situation. If they're saying these are baseless rumors that people are just running around with stuff and it's not fact, of course you're going to say that because you're his attorney. So your job is to basically defend your client. But I just keep my ears and my nose and every other sense of myself to the street so where I can get more information on what had happened in this situation. So yeah, I'll definitely be keeping you guys abreast of the story as it develops. But in the meantime, I definitely want to hear from y'all. What do you guys think of this story? What have y'all heard that I may have missed in reporting on this story? I'm sure there's gonna be more as it develops. And I'll be definitely keep my ears to the street to find out what more tea gets spilled regarding this whole pow-powing. So whatever your thoughts are on this matter, let me know in the comments down below. All right. Hold on. Uh, not a tiny Gemini. Damn, what's wrong with wow, did that sound like a read when I said, oh, he was an August Virgo, he ain't a September Virgo. Like Kiki Palmer? Was that shade? Was that a read? June 7, 1958. That was the day Prince was born, making him a Gemini. Kylie Minogue and Mel B are also Geminis. I heard that the incident with Offset happened at the yeah. Well, I think you mentioned that to me yesterday or something or another. I was at the casino across the street last night when it happened. You was over there hanging out gambling too. My friend read that TMZ announcement while we were sitting at a machine. You was out here gambling. Is that why Off Cheat won't divorce Cardi because it could hurt him? Probably, I mean, hurt him financially. She's the one that was making. First of all, Cardi makes way more money than Offset, so that could. But you said, but he's a wacko. No, y'all don't. You said we don't claim him. Oh, please, there's certain Virgos I don't claim either. All right, now speaking of Bel Khalees, let's talk about Cardi B. So, Cardi B is out here going on social media talking about that she was recently, like, because she's currently on her Little Miss Drama tour and went on IG Live. She revealed that basically she was the victim of credit card fraud and wants to see those responsible arrested. So hopefully they got all the information on who these people were that took the card, and they said that they surveilled the situation. Because, when it comes to credit cards, y'all do know that y'all leave a trail, which I think is dumb, that fact that y'all be using people's card and thinking nobody's going to trace what y'all doing. And she went into further detail on what it was that people were doing. And I was like, you know what? It's not entertaining to read what Cardi has to say in regards of her personal situation. And she said she know who they are and they going to jail. So we got to hear from the horse's mouth because that makes it funny. So let's get into that clip and then we're going to come back and then we're going to talk. Please hold.
Here for. Let me tell you something, right? So I'll say about 2-3 weeks ago, I noticed that like 2 weeks ago, I'm gonna say about 2 weeks ago, my credit card was missing, which is funny because I don't know. I don't know if I don't know because I always have it in my purse and everything. But either way, these people, I never seen these people before, so it's like whatever. So let me tell y'all something about me. Y'all know Cardi B don't fucking play about that bread. You know I don't play about my money, right? So my credit card, my Amex, is connected to my phone. Bitch, every single time that something is purchased with my Amex, I get a notification like a nigga is texting me. Ding, 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 ding. Bitch, it don't fucking matter if I go to a fucking bodega. It don't matter if I purchase something online. If something is purchased off my Amex, my shit go ding, 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 ding right away, right? So why I see a purchase, like a $40,000 purchase from Saks from my Amex, and of course I got the notification right away, ding, 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 ding. So I'm like, what the fuck, $40,000 Amex on Saks? So I'm like, maybe Juan, which is Colin's assistant, bought something because he be shopping with my card and everything. But I was like, but it's kind of weird because I haven't been buying clothes like that ever since I've been on tour. Like I haven't really been buying anything. So it's like, all right, more or less. So 35 minutes passed, and then there was a $20,000 purchase on Apple. Right away, I already knew it wasn't no Juan. It wasn't no nothing. Some weird shit was happening. And let me tell you something. Before I even called my accountant called me because my accountants also get a notification. Bitch, I could be ordering porn, bitch, and me and my accountant is gonna get a notification that I purchased porn from my credit card. That's how much I don't play about my money. As soon I was gonna call my accountants when I saw that Apple purchase, she called me before I even called her. She was like, yeah, some funny activities is going on. So let me tell you something. As soon as we saw that it was a funny activity going on, we completely we completely cut off the credit card. But guess what, you fuckers? We automatically called those stores. We called the Saks and we called the Apple store. Let me tell y'all motherfuckers something. Y'all going to jail. I got clear pictures of you motherfuckers trying to get money out of a chase, which mind you, you can get money out of. Well, that's another thing about my credit card. You cannot get money out of my credit card. Like it's like you can't just go to an ATM and just think no. But y'all tried it, so y'all tried it on the chase. So I got pictures of y'all going to chase. I got clear pictures of y'all in Saks, and I got clear pictures with y'all on Apple. Because one thing about me, I don't play about my fucking money. Like let me tell you, and I'm gonna tell you how y'all look. Y'all look Arab, and y'all look Dominican. Like y'all in between, but to me, y'all giving more like I don't know, like the Middle Eastern look. One of you is bald headed with a very thick beard. One of y'all look like y'all in your early 20s with curly black hair. One of y'all got a gray silver jacket and you got a stomach. And one of y'all is short and bald
Stomach.
with a beard. So it's for y'all motherfuckers. And let me tell y'all something. Y'all are going to jail. Y'all going to jail by the end of the week. Yeah, I got clear pictures of y'all, bitch. Clear in all 3 locations. And guess what? You're lucky. You're lucky that I don't got your address. Because if I get your address before here for
All right, so that was pretty much it because it was like 4.5 minutes. That was the length of the video I could find. I'm sure there's plenty more if you want to get that. She even said that, oh no, the one thing y'all not going to do is mess with my kids' money and started going uno, dos, tres, cuatro. I got 4 kids. I'm like, she is a mess. Where I understand this is a serious situation, but you just make everything just comedy. And I also read that some people was like, ma'am, this is something you should not have taken to social media. You should just let the police and all these other people handle it because yeah, if your credit card information and all the other stuff is getting stolen, you should not be putting that information out here and doing all that. Because another person said that this is your karma because you was gloating when it happened to Nicki Minaj not too long ago. And I was like, here you go. See, the minute you put this shit out here, now you getting them damn barbs started. So I think that was all that was mentioned about that. Yeah. She was basically saying she don't play about her money, all this other stuff. Now, speaking of that, I will go. Let's go over to some of the comments where I was reading over at the Jasmine brand, which had this video too. I don't know how much they get into it because we already seen the video, and I don't want to have to rehash the same thing. But one person said Offset gets pow, and your car gets hacked on the same day is crazy work. Another person said, and you got a stomach, and then did laugh emojis. Another person said, and I knew it wasn't no damn wand. Another person said, but she found it funny when Nikki Carr was getting scammed. She see how easily it could be you one day. Well, if that's what we're trying to diminish that to, then you choose to be slow. Because the reality was Nicki Minaj was saying a whole bunch of shit about Cardi B, and Cardi B was clapping back. So when you were one of those type of people, and like we like us New Yorkers a lot than y'all down in Miami, where it's like, um, if when you go low, oh, we go into the fiery pits of hell with the reads. We don't care. We dragging everybody into the conversation. We talking about your cockeyed ass kids. We talking about your ugly ass man. We talking about your retarded looking at bald headed ass mother. We bringing everybody in the conversation, and it's no shade. It's just the way that the cookie crumbles. We don't play fair. We don't fight fair. So another person how to get that card though. So it's clearly somebody in your camp. You really need to be paying attention to how people are getting your information because if it's your card or they had your credit card information and they were just shopping online or well, she did say they went down to the store. So how they get their hand on your card? The card ended up, or maybe Juan had it and misplaced it and wasn't honest or whatever the case it was. We need to find out about the Amex card. Like I don't know what had happened. Like you need to retrace your steps and find out how your card got misplaced and how these people got their hands on it. So I do feel like I'm glad you put it out there and I'm glad you're revealing this. But one thing you need to do is check your inner circle and find out how your stuff is getting, who's out here being dishonest with your shit. That maybe somebody in your circle is a thief and feeling like they not getting enough out of you. Because I be feeling like if I'm paying my employees good, there should be no reason why my shit is going missing. Or is it that because you have, especially in hip hop circles, there be so many people floating in and out of rooms, or people be bringing too many entourages in situations that your stuff gonna end up disappearing or going missing, or whatever the case is. And my thing is, don't take everything. This is not something that should have went to social media, although it is good to bring awareness if you're being a victim of credit card theft. But if somebody's going and spending thousands of dollars on your card and thinking you're just gonna pay that off, this is something that you should have just got the police involved in. So shout out to you, Cardi B. And like I said, I knew them people was gonna come up in here and say, the whole thing regarding, oh yeah, well, Nicki Minaj, it happened to her, and you already knew there was going to be some situation. But somebody in here said, I remember when someone cloned my credit card and went to Lowe's to buy all the materials to redo their kitchen and filled up their gas tank. I mean, I should laugh, but I was like, they was getting real specific. They went to Lowe's of all people, of all places, to buy all the materials to redo their kitchen and fill up their gas tank. So um yeah, it just goes to show that I guess that's what it is. Maybe somebody cloned her card. Who knows? But yeah, check your inner circle, Cardi. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story regarding what Belle Khalees had to say about, her card disappearing? And she said these people going to jail. That don't mean that y'all going to change y'all look. Like y'all not going to get caught out there. Y'all are on camera. Y'all are on surveillance. She knows what you look like. And so press the charges, find out who these people are. Y'all got all this big brother watching. I'm sure you could track down where these people are at and lock them up, since y'all want to be out here committing white collar crimes and someone else is dying. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. I ain't hear that. Trumping out here saying a whole bunch of shit, but I'll be checking my regular, sources to see what's really going on with this whole situation. Tehran says, hello. I was watching Cardi's fighting clips of Love and Hip Hop. That's how I fell in love with her way back when. Her tour performances are getting better too. Yeah, she definitely gives a good show, even though she doesn't like coming out on damn time. Because the first night when she performed at the Garden, she was an hour late. Second night, I heard she was a half hour late. And she definitely gives, I know she surprised a lot of people. She was giving a Beyonce style type of show. Dancers, crazy stunts, and all kinds of other like big props and all these other things. So she definitely was throwing a lot of money was put into this tour. But I fell out of love with her. She's straight. I mean, you said she's all right though. Can we send the Barbs to the Shady Pines? Her New York accent is everything. She ain't never gonna get rid of that. All right, y'all. So now let's move on with the rest of the show. And let's go from Cardi B to Karol G, who recently did a Playboy. Um, well, she's bearing her soul. I don't know if she's bearing her body parts in Playboy magazine. And she's opening up about a lot of things. I think Sofia Vergara interviewed her, but she's in there talking about you know, politics, and says that she wants to speak out more on politics, especially the way ICE is treating a lot of the Hispanic community, because she is Colombian. And I feel like the only person who has really come out and gone up against a lot of the Trumpian dystopian type of mess regarding ICE and the treatment of Hispanics has been Bad Bunny. And I think there are other artists who want to follow his lead, but she said that she's been advised to kind of like steer clear of the politics. So she said, people will say it's better you don't, the Colombian Grammy winner says in an interview accompanying her new cover of Playboy. Why? Because if you say the thing, maybe the next day you get a call. Hey, we're taking your visa away. You become bait because some people want to show their power. And that's a way that they want to go and silence you. And Bad Bunny's like, that's fine. I'll go to other places and I'll perform. And y'all just have to lose out on money, which our economy is going to shit thus far. So the music superstar who will be the first Latina to headline Coachella at this year's music festival, which isn't Coachella this come in a couple of days, actually? I saw they put out the list of the show times of when each person's gonna go on, but the print was so damn small. I was like, I don't care. I'll just scroll whenever, whatever, because I can't. I'm like that damn print was so damn tiny. My eyes was hurting trying to read it. So, and that was on Instagram. So, yeah, she said that I have a huge stage, and that's why I want to wait. And if someone was ever to do something to me, I want to stand firmly on my stage for my community. So that's why I may have to be more careful and wait for my turn and ensure that through that opportunity, I talk and represent something more. She asks, but what impact does she really have to say ice out versus something else that can have a real impact on my community? Now, in a wide ranging interview, the Emmy winning writer, Paola Ramos, she admits her Okay, this said so it was that's what she was in because I was like, why did I see Sofia Vergara's name pop up? She admits her team would kill her for saying ice out, but I'm willing to say it, she says, if I'm being honest with you, it's something that crosses the line of what I have to do to protect myself. But at the end of the day, what is my role in if I'm in this position? Well, look, I say that if you want to go and do politics and say certain things and you want to be able to really push that envelope and really go out there and say, do it because you want to do it and not because you're being forced to do it. Not every artist has the strength, the wherewithal, or the backbone, or the bandwidth to even jump in and get political. There are people out here who are trying to get political and they sound dumb as fuck, Stephen A. Smith, that, people that don't know a damn thing about politics but are jumping in it because it's a grift. And then there are people who are revolutionary because you have to realize music and politics have always gone hand in hand. So when you hear people come, well, y'all need to just shut up and sing or whatever the case, I'm like, where the fuck have you been? Because if you want to take it back to the days of Vietnam, there was a lot of artists out here. I mean, that's as far as back I'm going to take it, but I'm sure you can go further back. And there were people that were being political and that stuff. But the most I really think about is me knowing music history is the time of the Vietnam War. There was a lot of artists who were going out and juxtaposing politics in the music. And y'all were all for it. All y'all that was kids once was here for it. Now that y'all are older, all of a sudden y'all got a problem when your generation was the ones that was out there pushing about the Vietnam War, women's lib, and all these other things. Now y'all hate women. Now you can't talk politics and music. I'm like, so y'all, what did y'all get brainwashed into not knowing your own damn history of music and politics have always gone hand in hand? Not everybody should have to speak on it if you don't have the ability to do it. And also, I think Karol needs to understand that, sis, your name is on the marquee and you are the boss. Those people on your team work for you. So they're running around to my, well, I don't think it's a good idea for you to say, it's like, bitch, I pay your salary. You don't sit and tell me what you think. Or you going to advise me on anything if I'm the one that's going to have to stand on this. You're worried because you think if I go out and say ice out or whatever the case is, or if I decide to use my platform on stage as a performer to liberate and make my people feel, yeah, liberated, larger than life, wanting to go against the establishment because the establishment is trying to diminish who you are as a human being. If you think that's bad, then you go work for somebody else that literally will keep their head down and just sing the hits and mind their business. If that's what you feel like you want to be comfortable and wanting to keep that mess up, you go ahead and do that. But that's not the artist I want to be as I grow and as I evolve further in making music and becoming one of the biggest Colombian superstars of the world since Shakira. So that's basically where she is. Now, they say Carol G is the first Playboy cover from the magazine's new chief brand officer and editor-in-chief, Philip Picardi, whose appointment was announced in March. Carol G is a perfect embodiment of our new era of Playboy. As an artist and performer, she deeply understands that sexuality can be a powerful storyteller. Her collaboration with photographer Gray Sorrenti felt personal and intimate. The photographs communicate a seduction that doesn't need to shout in order to be heard. We're thrilled that she chose Playboy to help tell her story instead of such a pivotal moment in her career. And we are grateful for her vulnerability and trust, both in the images and in her conversation with Paola Ramos for our cover story. She has some big old boobs too. So this is where I was, where I read the Sofia Vergara thing. So they said Karol G only asked fellow Colombian Sofia Vergara if she should pose for Playboy. She said, Mijita, with that body, when you get to this age, you tell yourself, fuck, why didn't I pose that one time? I should have posed more with a thong. She says, recalling Vergara's advice, just one thing, don't show your pussy. Well, Playboy is the one place you won't be able to show the Virginia Slim. That's the one place you won't. Now, if you was talking about Hustler, then it's like, okay, you showing full on vag. But Playboy was more subtle with the nudity. I mean, maybe you saw a smidge of lip, but bottom lip, but you didn't really get to see like full on, spread open the cootie cat and all that. Man, you wasn't seeing vulgarity in Playboy. So she also told her to have a reason for doing it. She said, "Why do I want to do this? Because I want to. Because I grew up inspired by how beautiful the women in the magazine looked. But now I have the opportunity to be that beautiful, sexy mama sota in the magazine. Why not?" Playboy's spring issue will hit newsstands on April 14th. Karol G's full cover story is available to new and existing digital and print subscribers only until the magazine arrives in newsstands nationwide. So I'm wondering, does that mean she's gonna be butt naked up in there? Because some of the pictures I've seen, she's in a bra and a t-shirt, and she's naked on in this picture that you see with the Playboy cover. But I'm like, now, how much is she showing? Because I know it's like with Playgirl, and Playboy, they've kind of become more Maxim magazine-ish or Victoria's Secret. They've kind of gotten a little PG-13 with what it is they want to show versus a little R-rated. So I don't know to what magnitude, but I'm sure like once the pictures start coming out, I'll do more research to see if she showed any nippleage or boobage and areola and all that mess when it comes out. But she's a pretty girl. Look, she's single now. She ain't with Fade anymore. So we'll see how that all works out once the thing is released. But shout out to her. And like I said all I need to say about the politics is like speak on it when you have the strength or the wherewithal to be able to just speak on anything political. Don't just jump in the whole political space because you think it's the trendy thing. Speak on it if you have something to say, and damn those who have a problem with it. So I'll say all that to say, what do you guys think of this story regarding Karol G saying that she wants to speak out more about ICE, but she has people in her circle that's telling her not to. Maybe they're looking out for her well-being, but I also think it's probably they're being selfish on their own because they don't want her to deal with the backlash. But that comes with when you stand for something, you're going to deal with trolls who have a problem with you having the balls to speak out against, fascism or bigotry. It comes with the territory. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Hold on. Oh, it's like, well, people really obsessed with the late starts. It's like they feel their time is valuable. I mean, it is when you and then when you got to deal with people. What's Cardi coming out? What time this show supposed to start? And it's like, she was supposed to start an hour ago. So at this point, I don't know. That was like the time I was like, who was the worst performer? Lil Wayne. One time he literally came, he was supposed to come on around 8:30, didn't come out till like after 10 and did a 45-minute set. And that's what y'all paid for. I was like, no, leave Mr. Seizure prone at home. Because you should not be out here trying to tour and you're gonna give people a half-ass show and come out late and have the DJ pretty much do majority of the show. Shady Pines. That's what I said. Playboy still going. I was not excited for Coachella until I remembered Ethel was performing. The Strokes might be premiering new music too. Sabrina's new music also got me excited for her set, but that's pretty much it. I'm also looking forward to seeing Slater's show, how that all turns out. I'm not really all that excited for Justin Bieber, but I'll definitely check and see what he's doing. I'll look at Karol G's performance and see what she gives. But yeah, Coachella's like, whatever. Bill Ackman wants to buy Universal Music Group, a Trump supporter, and people are scared because black artists and any progressive artist will be shelved. I don't like anybody that's a part of his administration trying to buy anything. It's like, what do y'all even know about fucking music? The same thing the Ellisons know about making movies, nothing. Like Taylor Swift and Drake and chart success will be the only ones allowed to issue music. Well, we'll see. What's up, Chris? I've been missing your live alerts. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that. That's a joke, right? ICE is doing a job. Why are people interrupting law enforcement when they're making arrests anyway? Does it matter that they're thieves, rapists, murderers who shouldn't be there? Mm-mm. Well, thank you. Okay. All right, y'all. So let's get back into more hot topics. And let's talk about Halle Bailey, who 3 years later has decided to get weigh in on all the backlash that she received from what was it? Oh, The Little Mermaid, because she's got a new movie coming out. This might be the first, isn't this like the first movie since The Little Mermaid that she's got coming out? So anyway, she's got a new movie coming out with Ray Jean Page, where they're stuck in some villa in Italy. It don't look that ain't my cup of tea, but if you like it, I love it. But anyway, so she has this new movie coming out, and she is weighing in on a lot of the backlash that she had endured because a lot of people had a hard time seeing a black mermaid on the big screen. So 3 years after the release of Disney's live action Little Mermaid, Halle Bailey is looking back at the experience of playing Ariel and how she ultimately felt freed by the the discourse that erupted around her casting. Racist trolls were outraged at Disney for casting a black actor as Ariel, which made Bailey the target of online harassment from toxic fans, but she doesn't look back on the film's release with any negativity. Now, speaking to The Independent on the press tour for her latest film, the rom com You, Me, and Tuscany, Bailey said, Little Mermaid was a beautiful experience for me, and I feel like it taught me to listen to myself and the good voices inside. I learned how to block out the noise. How do I explain it? She continued. It was actually freeing to be in the middle of this conversation where so many different opinions were coming in and they were so opposite from one another. I felt like I was watching myself inside a cup, seeing how people react to it. Growing up in the industry can really develop your sense of self. And for me, it keeps me grounded in a way. I know for some people it's the opposite, but I will always think to myself, none of this is real. Bailey explained that she often goes into nature to get perspective. She needs to stay level headed in Hollywood, saying, I love feeling small, realizing that the world is so big and beautiful, and I'm just a tiny, tiny part of it. The fact is, I'm here. The fact I'm here is a blessing, and I'm grateful to be doing music and acting. But at the same time, this is not what matters in life. What matters is keeping our feet on the ground and holding the people we love. Now, amid the racist backlash, Bailey heard for fellow actors like Rachel Ziegler, and said Zendaya also reached out and Ariana Grande was so nice. As women, I think we form a little protective bubble around each other, especially when we see a peer going through lots of opinions. Rachel was definitely one of those people because Rachel was dealing with her own stuff regarding Snow White and said that she loves her. And then we also understand what a valuable, vulnerable place it is to be. And at the end of the day, we are young women. We're self conscious. We're insecure. I'm insecure at times. And sometimes the opinions of people can muddy your own thoughts. So it's special to have a community who's there to say, you're amazing. We're here for you. So, um, when the Mermaid movie opened up in May of 2023, she did tell The Face that as a black person, you just expect the kind of racist backlash she endured for being cast as Ariel, and it's not really a shock anymore. Yeah, it was like we all kind of sensed it was coming and stuff, but um, just thought, I don't look. If anybody want to come in and tell a different story from a different point of view, be it your race, gender, whatever the case is, I don't mind it as long as the story is there and the movie is good. And quiet as it's kept, the Little Mermaid story was ass, and I didn't think the movie was good. I thought Halle Bailey did what she could with the movie. The movie as a whole was a good. I didn't particularly like a lot of the CGI stuff that they were doing up in the film, so that's what disappointed me. And the movie was a mess, and I think that's what it was. And I definitely feel like with Disney, y'all set that girl up for that backlash. And that's how I took from it. I know, sometimes when you're an other, y'all just so happy to be in the room and you're young and you're naive and you don't see the forest for the trees. But I just felt like Disney, y'all played in her face and y'all knew the mess that y'all was putting together. So then she also went on to say, when Chloe and I first signed to Parkwood, Beyonce was always like, I never read my comments. Don't ever read the comments. Well, it's easier said than done, sis. She said at the time, honestly, when the teaser came out, I was at the D23 Expo and I was so happy. I didn't see any of the negativity. I know people are like, it's not about race, but now that I'm her, people don't understand that when you're black, there's this whole other community. It's so important for us to see ourselves. And I think at the end of the day, that's the way I was looking at it too, is the fact that the reason why they decided to do different versions of things with a different character, whatever, is because white people, y'all, I know this might be hard for y'all, and y'all want to be oppressed so bad, which is why we got that foolishness with Jake Paul fixing his stupid crooked ass mouth to say he want to do blackface because of that whole thing with Drewski. And it's like, y'all want to be oppressed so bad because the whole world has been rolled out for you. Like the red carpet's been laid out for y'all since birth. So you don't know what that's like to be othered or discriminated against or to have not have things that you got to work hard for certain things. So yeah, unfortunately, we got to diversify the things that y'all grew up on and make a different version and tell a different story, which that shouldn't be a problem. But at the end of the day, when you're an other, when you're a person of color, or you're just, I say, just an other in general, when you're sort of marginalized or from a marginalized community, you just want to be seen. You just want visibility. And the way I'm looking at it is that with Ariel, with Halle playing a black version of Ariel, that's an opportunity for a young little black girl coming up who's like 3 or 4 or 5 years old, or just young in general, looking at this film is like, I want to be like her one day. I want to go out there and I want to perform on a stage and be the first black this person to play this role, which is sad to say in 2026, we still doing first black this, that, and the third. But you want to be able to play a different role that you normally wouldn't see a person of color playing. And I think that's the way people look at it. Everybody else want to come in with their damn racism, but that's not how people of color looking at it. They're just happy to have their moment. It's the same thing like with Black Panther. The minute Black Panther came along, and you see how collectively black folks of all walks of life felt empowered from that movie, from those movies. But I would say more or less we want to focus on the first one. She also said that her family helped her drown out the backlash when the not hashtag not my Ariel hashtag started trending on racist ass Twitter. Bailey grandparents shared their own memories with her of the racism and discrimination they faced in their lifetimes, saying it was an inspiring and beautiful thing to hear the words of encouragement, telling me you don't understand what this is doing for us, for our community, for all the little black and brown girls who are going to see themselves in you, which is literally what I just said. So, um, and then Rob Marshall, who directed the film, basically said he had no agenda when it came to casting Ariel, and that his team auditioned every ethnicity for the role before landing on Bailey. Say we were just looking for the best actor for the role. Period. The end. We saw everybody in every ethnicity. The goal was to find someone who could be incredibly strong, passionate, beautiful, smart, clever, and have a deal of fire and joy, and who could sing. So um, and there you have it. That's who they chose, and people was mad. But it's like these days, people are always gonna find a reason to be pissed off about something. So you can't please people. There's always gonna be trolls on social media who's just gonna give their unsolicited, unasked for opinion about some bullshit. And if y'all care about the to read the rest of the article, you can head over to the Independence website to read the full profile in its entirety if you want to read more in the article, or you can go over to chrisavalon.com. I have the link and everything in there. So yeah, shout out to you. And yeah, I definitely want to hear from y'all. What do you guys think of this story of what Halle Bailey had to say about she was like, oh, I tuned out the noise. I'm like, yeah, it's easy for you to say that, but I doubt you was really out there tuning out the noise. I'm sure you was hearing a lot of the backlash and a lot of what was going on in the situation. It's easy for you to say that now because everything has died down. It's 3 years later and nobody's still rambling on about that damn movie. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. If Halle doesn't take her Yeah, because nobody cares about your solo stuff. And it said, but would people even care about a Chloe and Halle album in 2026? I was obsessed with Ungodly Hour, but yeah, it's like when y'all take too long, you got to realize in this climate, out of sight, out of mind. Because I was reading an article, and I think I posted on social media. They said Robin's new album, Sex Essential, came in I think 126 on the charts, and people was like, well, what went wrong? She's not doing any of the festivals. She's doing like her little regular schmegular tour. I'm like, because the album is like, eh, that's probably why. It's like like these songs that Robin's releasing, we've heard stuff like this, but there's nothing new, nothing innovative. She's not. I don't think she pushed herself creatively. Yes, she's focusing on the fact that I'm a woman of a certain age and I'm being sexual, which that happens. I don't know why people think people in their 40s ain't out here fucking. What you thought we stopped at 35, like or 30? Like only 20-some-year-olds be out here hunching like rabbits. I mean, I think that someone like Robin's age who's like 46, 47, she's in her prime as a woman. So her sexual prime. And why can't she explore that? But I just feel like the music is just not it ain't top of the radar. Because when I listened to the record, I was I mean, it's some cute songs on there, but it's not something that's like commanding a sense of urgency for me that I have to go and immediately always put that record on. Right now, for me, that's just been Slater. Like I've just been consistently every time I just need to hear that record. That's what I've been popping on repetitively or repeatedly. Was there any backlash with Brandy? I don't think there was. But the funny enough, wasn't that pre-social media? And that was television. And Whitney Houston was in it. So I don't know. Maybe there would, if social media was a thing, maybe there would have been backlash, but we don't know because there was no way to get that negative information out there. But I'm sure there would have been. But yeah, to me, I just don't think that there was. But like I said, because social media wasn't a thing at the time, we'll never know. If it's a WOC playing a exotic character like Pocahontas, they don't care. But the minute they take a royalty role, they have a problem. Well, yeah, they don't want to see you in a strong part. All women of all races are princesses. So I need moderators or someone that could post your site. Well, I do have a moderator on here. I made Onyx a moderator. I could probably make another person one. Um And my website, I do have it linked. If I'm not mistaken, it's linked in the YouTube. This what is it? The YouTube description, I believe, is down there on my social media platforms. ChrisAvalon.com is the website. You said, oh, well, yeah, it makes sense that it will go number 10. But you seem to be like, you think that only 8 people being here just for now. First of all, it's way more people than 8. You tried it. And Peppa Pig, my 8 people in here. You being one of them. So there's way more people because I'm looking at it at what the fucking number is. So you talking Madonna needs to make another X book. Not who the fuck are you? He said, I think Robin's main producer class wasn't available. He was battling cancer and basically told Robin, give me time because you need me and the results will show. But he said, I understand a resurgence. Well, she did say no shade. Don't be throwing no shade. Like I said, I never know what I should and should not boot in the live chat. Yeah, that might be yeah, because sometimes I probably be like, well damn, why did you ban that person? They actually are friends of the show, so it does get hard sometimes. So usually I'll just scroll through and I'll make an executive decision on who I'm like, okay, get the fuck up out of here. Yeah, well, now Peppa Pig can go be messy on someone else's channel. And you said the need for an album was needling. I was like, they talking about some damn 8 people. I was like, bitch, you tried it. And when I clock out, and you could check my numbers and see how many people watch this show a day. And you said, I'm looking forward to Jessie Ware's album. Same. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you said, who the fuck are you? Which was kind of funny. Into a. Where we going? Um, we got to talk about Fake Lively. So that's the next story that we're gonna get into as we speak. So a federal judge has dismissed most of the claims, as y'all know, in the sexual harassment lawsuit that Blake Lively has against Justin Baldoni. Funny enough, with all this other stuff, they say he's not backing away, she's not backing away. So we're at a stalemate. And then I was also reading that they said that Blake, I think it's about time that you just call it a day, wrap this up. Because when I look at this whole situation, when you continuously going on and saying that you were sexually harassed or whatever, who is this for? Like, what is the end goal in all of this? Like, what do you want from this whole testimony of going up against Justin Baldoni? Are you trying to ruin his career? Do you want him ousted from Hollywood forever? Like, what is the goal? What is the end goal of all of this? I just need to know do you see the light at the end of the tunnel? Because we about to get there coming next month. And when is it, when it comes down to the train rolling into the station, what station we stopping at? So I just need to know what's the T, bitch? Because I'm like, I'm hella confused what all of this is. I just think this is a whole ego situation with her. She doesn't know how to back away from this whole situation because she don't want to admit defeat, which even though the judge gutted majority of the stuff that she was, now, Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni are still heading to trial over the It Ends With Us actresses' retaliation and defamation lawsuit, despite a federal judge's best intentions and efforts. Lawyers for the former and bitter battling co-stars were ordered to call in with the magistrate judge, Sarah L. Cave, on Monday afternoon to find out their client updated settlement position. It did not go well. Now, coming just days after Judge Lewis Lyman dropped 10 of Lively's 13 claims against Baldoni, his Wayfair studio execs and PR team. The individual conference calls 3 p.m. in Eastern Time for Team Blake, 4 p.m. Eastern Time for Team Baldoni. Saw both sides reject any deal to avert the trial scheduled to begin May 18th. Judge Cave searched for any common ground between Lively and Baldoni that she could build to no avail, I hear. It's according to Deadline, by the way. So with her harassment claims tossed not on their merits, but on jurisdictional and contractual grounds, Lively certainly took a loss last week with Lyman's summary judgment ruling trimming her case. Allegations of a preemptive online smear campaign for Baldoni's crisis PR crew against Lively ahead of the premiere of the Sony distributed IEWU are now the battlefield on of the matter. Lively has said in recent days that the astroturfing claim was always the real case. Astroturfing claim. Perhaps an indication of where the settlement calls could end up. Earlier on Monday, Lively reposted her not strongly worded. Oh, so now what the hell's the name? Chuck Schumer sending out strongly worded letters. Strongly worded remarks of last week asking fans not to be distracted by the digital soap opera and vowing to never stop doing my part in fighting to expose the systems and people who seek to harm, shame, silence, and retaliate against. Girl, please, because you was the one out here that was trying to harm, shame, and silence and retaliate against victims. What about all the bloggers and stuff that were reporting on this case that you've been trying to shut down and send cease and desist to? The ones that were TikTokers and people like Andy Signal over on Popcorn Planet and Perez Hilton and so many others who've been reporting on this case. So now you want to run around here trying to play victim? What are you a victim of? I mean, all the stuff that you were saying, the judge was tossing them things out, throwing it out, gutting it. It was like, no, you have no case here with all these other things. There's other things you can move forward with, but like I said, what is the goal to this whole thing? What is your end game? Because I just feel like it's a waste of time. It's a waste of taxpaying dollars. And are you at a situation where you want to get to a point where you want to ruin Justin Baldoni? Because I feel like there's no light at the end of the tunnel on this. I don't think you're going to win this case. And I just think that Justin Baldoni is probably going to he doesn't I don't even think he wants to sell at this point because he's looking victorious in this at this point. But I don't know if you're going to win in this whole situation, but we'll see. And I know I've heard that people have been advising her to like settle, move on. I even saw there was a poll that was done. I think it was TMZ or one of the blogs that was like, should she settle? And people were like, yes, you need to settle. So you up here talking about digital online noise or the soap opera, whatever the fuck it was that she said, digital soap opera. But it's like, ma'am, you're the one that's keeping us going. We all are sick and tired of talking about this, me being one of them. I'm tired of talking about this story. I'm ready to move on. I think everybody's ready to move on. And it's just not looking good on your part, especially once this whole thing wraps up. How will you be looked at in the eyes of people in the entertainment industry? It's like, yeah, they'll tolerate you because you married to Ryan Reynolds. But as far as like wanting to work with you down the road, I don't know if there's people out there that's going to be willing to offer you a gig and want to be on set with you, especially when you be when based off of this, you notorious for trying to take over people's projects, like you, Steven Goddamn Spielberg. Or if I want to compare you to a female director, and I'm not saying she's bossy, but I'm saying as a director, Catherine Bigelow, or maybe Maggie Gyllenhaal, because she released a movie that none of y'all went to go see, The Bride, which I just saw is already available to watch at home on digital. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story with Ku Klux Khaleesi getting dragged on social media? And basically, Justin Baldoni says that he's not interested in settling because even though she might be interested or she's being stubborn and don't want to settle, he's not settling either. So we're clearly at a stalemate at this point, and it's going to trial, and we'll see how this mess plays out in a New York court. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Word is the Pussycat Dolls are taking Carmi and Jessica Sutter to court to gag them from back. And that's going to help them sell records, sell tickets to this concert, this overly ambitious concert. She really lives up to the name of keeping this mess. I guess we can call her what's her name? Blake Messy Lively or whatever. Yeah, she is keeping this mess going. We are ready to move on. Just Baldoni is also basically retiring as well. She is told to settle, but her settlement comes with an ironclad NDA and a gag order. And Baldoni wants that off the record, saying what? Yeah, because it's like that isn't fair. I'm not going to sit and be I mean, we settle, but I can't say anything. Like you're gonna gag and bound my mouth from speaking the truth, so you get to have the upper hand. But I'm going, you're gonna pay me to shut up for the rest of my life, and I can't tell my side of the story. Because what if I actually want to write a book and basically give y'all the lowdown of what really went on behind the scenes of this movie and in the court and all that other stuff. And I can't profit off of any of that because you already ruined my damn career with your accusations and lies and that little hit piece that you took out in the New York Times. But you get to walk away scot-free because of who you spread your legs and had 4 kids with? I don't fucking think so. Blake Lively should have settled in 10 out of the 13 claims were dismissed. That's almost 77% of her case gone. Her pettiness is being brought. Absolutely, this is pettiness and bitterness. And that ego of yours is going to be your undoing. But when you're surrounded by a bunch of damn yes people in this industry, that's what you got to deal with. But anyway, we're down to 4 more topics of the show before we get up out of here. So before we get to those final 4, if you could please do me a solid and hit that like button. You know, all 80 of you that's in here watching, even though I'm looking at the numbers and I see it's way more than 8. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button and also be sure to smash the notification bell. You know, come on, Ocho, all Ochos of the Ocho Cincos, come up in here. Not 85. I mean, 86. So I was like, wait, you don't even know how to count. Wait, no, it is 85. What am I talking about? Ocho Cinco. He said Blake Lively is great. to look at on screen, but isn't talented. And she really never stood out for me as an actress. Pretty to look at, but she was never like that girl that was like, ooh, I can't wait to see her on the screen, big or small. Okay, so yeah, hit the like button, subscribe, all that good stuff. So now, without further ado, let's get into some more tea, more lawsuits coming. Because NSYNC choreographer Darrin Henson, who y'all may remember, he did the choreography for that. I think he's also worked with other artists. I can't remember, but I know he was mostly famous for creating the NSYNC Bye 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 dance. He also played Lem on Soul Food, the TV series, not the movie. Mekhi Phifer played Lem in the movie. He played Lem in the TV show, which I did watch back in the day on Showtime. Shout out to everybody that was a part of that. That was a good show. But anyway, so Darrin Henson is about to file. Well, I think he's already filed the lawsuit against them for using his choreography without his permission. And I would have thought that they would have thought about doing all of that before we got in this position. Because I was like, yeah, when that scene comes up isn't that in the beginning of Deadpool and Wolverine? When y'all using that scene, I'm like, don't you got to get permission to be using all of that? And it was the exact choreography. So the choreographer behind NSYNC's famous Bye 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 dance is suing Sony Music after it appeared in the Marvel movie Deadpool and Wolverine, claiming the label had no right to sell access to his iconic routine. Darrin Henson, who won the MTV VMA for Best Choreography in 2000 for the Bye 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 music video, says in his lawsuit that he owns copyrights to the choreography, but that Sony has wrongfully held themselves out as the owners of the work. The dispute was sparked by the 2024 Deadpool movie, in which the title character dances to Bye 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 in the opening sequence. The dance was heavily memed on TikTok and other social media platforms, causing a stream boom for NSYNC's track. As a result, Henson claims that his decade-old dance moves are now unjustly affiliated with Marvel, all because Sony granted a license for a piece of the intellectual property that it didn't own. Saying, quote, the reality is that work belongs to Henson, and to obtain full acknowledgement of his ownership and a complete transfer of all monies earned by SME and its licenses, the plaintiff must seek declaratory relief from the court. His lawyers write in their March 27th complaint, which was obtained by Billboard. Now, Henson says Sony also wrongfully licensed the choreography to Epic Games for use in the video game Fortnite as an emote, a move that gamers can purchase as an add-on downloadable content for the game. The lawsuit claims that Henson attempted to resolve the dispute amicably, but that Sony has refused to budge. The label allegedly told him that because it owns the copyrights to Bye Bye Bye's music video, it was entitled to license out the use of the dance to Marvel Studios and Epic. It's like, no, you own the song. They got up in the studio and was, under Sony and was singing the song and the songwriters and all that other stuff. That's y'all deal. When they got in the studio with me and I was coming up with that choreography doing performing the VMAs or wherever the hell they was performing at, that's my shit. So there was nothing in my contract, and you're gonna have to prove that when you go to court, that states that y'all can just take my stuff and my routine because you own the rights of the fucking song. Suck my dick from the back. And that's how I feel about them assholes over at Sony, which I just read that they about to lay off lots of people over there, probably because they're on the struggle bus financially. I mean, when the last time y'all watched something from Sony or listened to something from Sony and they made a profit? Warner Brothers out here were really the ones making all the profit. But you don't sit and just license out my stuff without my permission, man. He's got to prove that he has an ironclad contract which states that, no, you cannot license out my likeness or my choreography because you own the rights to the music. And like I said, he's going to have to prove all of this. Now, a rep for Sony Music declined to comment on Thursday, April 2nd. Marvel and Epic are not named as defendants in the lawsuit nor accused of any wrongdoing. Now, Henson's case is just the latest court fight over choreography. Last year, a dancer who worked with Usher and Jennifer Lopez sued over allegations that Fortnite stole his moves for a recent Raul Alejandro music video. Before that, the TikTok user who says she created the viral Apple dance to a Charlie XCX song sued Roblox for selling it. For years, such cases faced skeptical judges who questioned whether simple dance moves were even converted by copyright law, which historically covered only more elaborate choreography such as ballets. But in 2023, a federal appeals court issued a first of its kind ruling reviving such a lawsuit against Epic, saying there was no reason to treat choreography differently from longer dance routines. Absolutely. If somebody came up with the choreography for an artist, that's their intellectual property. Therefore, they should be able to profit off of their intellectual property that they created. So I don't understand how labels think that. And if they're not signed to the label, Darrin Henson is not an artist, as in the way of he's not a singer, dancer, performer. He's someone who's teaching artists how to do a routine for the visual aspect of the song. So if that's a property that he created that he has license to, then y'all got to pay him his coins. But he wanted to prove that in court, and they'll probably walk away with that. They don't want to settle like men or whatever in the situation. Now I got to be all loud with my bullhorn on social media, and now I got to get what I'm owed because I have to bring attention to it. So they bring up the music video for "Bye Bye Bye," released in January 2000, as the lead single from the band's "No Strings Attached," is a legendary piece of 2000s pop culture, featuring the boy band members hung from puppeteer strings before breaking into dance. The video spent 25 consecutive days at #1 on MTV's then ubiquitous Total Request Live Countdown. Oh my God, I remember that show. Carson Daly was the host and was ranked as number 21 on Billboard's 100 Greatest Music Videos of the 21st Century. Now, in his lawsuit, Henson said he was recruited by the band's manager to create the sequence for the group in October of 1999. And when he did so, he said he never signed any kind of agreement handing over the rights to anyone, saying, quote, Henson did not sign a work made for hire agreement prior to the creation of the work, and as such, by its creation alone, became the sole owner of the work, the lawyers write. To date, he has not transferred said ownership to any third party. So, like I said, if you can prove it, present it for a court, and you'll probably get your money from not only from Disney, who basically it was Sony licensed it out to them to do this little funny routine they wanted to do in Deadpool and Wolverine, but also in for Fortnite. Get your money, Darrin, because quiet as a skip. I don't know what you've been out here doing. You could probably use a couple of little extra dollars in your account. So I'll say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? I'll definitely keep you guys abreast of the story as it develops. And yeah, if y'all out here creating intellectual property and people out here trying to steal y'all work, don't be afraid of these Goliaths running around here trying to take y'all stuff and overpowering y'all with they high profile lawyers and all other stuff. Go up in there and be little David and take their ass out and get what you are owed. Regardless if you Darrin Henson or Jenny from up the block. And I'm not talking about Henson for Lopez. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Listen, all these youngsters don't know "Bye Bye Bye" was a classic. No, they don't until they got the lecture, because they probably didn't know it watching the movie. It was like, oh, there's a cute little dance and the song, whatever. Or you heard the song and these kids Google schmoogle because they're like, oh, I don't know nothing about NSYNC because NSYNC really wasn't out here. I mean, they popped for a moment, but they haven't been consistent like the Backstreet Boys. 30 some odd years later, the Backstreet Boys still together out here performing. NSYNC off doing whatever it is they do. We already know the story of Justin Timberlake and all the others and what they've been up to. Lance Bass is owning gay bars all over the West Hollywood. And then you got Chris Kirkpatrick doing whatever it is he doing, reality shows every now and again. Joey Fatone jumps on Broadway once in a blue or a reality competition show. And JC, I don't know where he really out here. I mean, he was out here trying to create some musical thing that nobody cared about, but he been out here doing stuff. Once again, stealing from a black person. Absolutely. Remember, Sony absorbed BMG in 2008, which includes NSYNC. Well, they didn't read the fine print. Folks better learn how to protect their intellectual and creative work. You might have one great idea that can change your life. Figure out how to protect it before putting it out there. Yeah, I think if you do come up with a routine, I think people need to put it out there post it on social media and figure out how to. I mean, I don't know what the proper stuff around it is. Get the paperwork, do an LLC, trademark it, and be like, yeah, anybody that uses your stuff and it goes viral, because you never know. Trademark all of it, because you never know when it hits, and just take a gamble. If you come up with any kind of routine, put the little trademark on it, sign all the paperwork, have that all for you. So that way, when it does go viral, you can say that I profit from it every time somebody decides to use my likeness. That's what you got to do these days. Everybody needs the LLC they shit. I learned with the Showgirl lawsuit, Taylor can buy the rights to the Showgirl likeness, which is definitely going to happen. Sony can do the same thing and give Darrin a big penny to go away, which is literally, I think, what he wanted, but they wouldn't budge. I prefer Justin's solo work, but he was he was okay in NSYNC. Well, look, quiet as it's kept. I was more or less a JC fan, but I just think the problem with JC, even though JC quiet as it's kept had the better singing voice, I just think Justin is a star, and Justin was hungry. And yeah, Justin don't have the most spectacular voice in the world. He has a little falsetto, but he has star quality. I just don't think JC had the star quality. And they tried at one point to make him a star, and it just didn't pop with Schizophrenic. JC, I feel bad. Not you actually spelling Jaycee. It would have just been the letter J and the letter C. So I feel bad for him. He was marketing wrong. Yeah, especially with that Schizophrenic album. Is he Hispanic? I didn't know he was Hispanic or whatever. Well, his last name is Shahs. That is true, but I think there was like this disdain for these white presenting Hispanics and not wanting them to go into Latin music, especially back then. Because remember, like even when we had the Latin explosion of Shakira and Jennifer Lopez and Mark Anthony and Enrique Iglesias and all that stuff, they had to sing and they did the Spanish music, but they had to sing it in English. They had as a way to cross over to the Anglo market. Now, when you look at the Bad Bunnies and the Daddy Yankees and the Karol G's and so many others, they don't, and the Raul Alejandros, they don't care. They'll sing all that stuff in Spanish. It's like you either like it or you don't. He might be. Let me look it up. Not what he doing now. What's his Oh no, he's French and English. So no, he would have spoke French because he's not Hispanic. He's French and English. They say he's born Joshua Scott Chazé in Washington, D.C., is of French and English descent. He was raised in Bowie, Maryland, and is known as an American singer, songwriter, and member of the boy band NSYNC. He was adopted around the age of 5.5 by Roy and Karen Chazé. So I wonder what his actual background is because they say he was adopted. So yeah, we don't know who the biological parents are. Okay. I don't know why people are calling me and I'm in the middle of my live. This always happens. I'm not going to do that like I did the other day. Bitch, I'm on live. I'm not going to do that like I did before, and I got the people was cackling because I left it in the video. This song, I promise you, has a Spanish version. Oh yeah, I do remember that song. Oh yeah, I was like, who sang that song? NSYNC. Duh. Wasn't their manager accused of? I hope. I hope not. But I did hear something about that. But anyway, okay. So now, let's get back into the rest of the show, and let's talk about Howard Stern, who's out here got a lawsuit because apparently one of his former employees is running around here saying that Howard D. Stern, the king of all media, has being and his wife Beth is being accused of creating a hostile work environment. So, according to court documents obtained by Us Weekly on Monday, April 6th, Leslie Kuhn, I think that's how you say it, Kuhn or Kuhn, Kuhn, I guess we'll call her Kuhn. Kuhn, Leslie Kuhn. hope you're not black, was hired as an office manager for Sirius XM, The Howard Stern Show, in September of 2022 before she became Howard's executive assistant in January of 2024. Now, 4 months later, Kuhn claimed she was asked to move to Southampton, New York to work at Howard 72 in Beth's mansion, which they call that a doomsday bunker. Because they said, like, it's literally like a whole situation where I guess if the apocalypse come, then he gonna confine himself in their little bunker they got. So what is this, like paradise? You got yourself a little underground city. Now, Beth Stern told Kuhn that in addition to assisting Howard, Beth needed assistance with such things as managing the staff of the mansion, setting staffing schedules, completing staff payroll, and managing general household operations, including Beth's extensive at-home feline rescue and fostering operations, the doc stated. Beth is a known animal advocate who serves as the national spokesperson for North Shore Animal League America. She also was instrumental in creating Bianca's Furry Friends Feline, say that 10 times fast, Bianca's Furry Friends Feline Adoption Center, which recently opened at North Shore Animal League America, the world's largest no-kill shelter and rescue organization. Now, on February 26th, sorry, Coons employment was allegedly terminated for cause. Kuhn contends that her termination was a result of, among other things, a hostile work environment and enablement of that hostile work environment. Immense pressures on the household created irresponsible and untenable animal rescue and fostering operations occurring on site and massively disorganized and questionable business operations and accounting practices, court documents state. As such, Kuhn fully intends to disclose details concerning the facts surrounding her employment. The lawyer also alleges that law firm representing Stern's production company presented her with a separation agreement containing a non-disclosure agreement that claims she did not sign. Kuhn and her legal team allege that her signature is nothing more than a typewritten name in the same font style and size used to identify the parties' names on in the recitals of the agreement. Still confused as to why they terminated her. Because you were saying that Beth wanted you to help out with all the animal stuff that she did because she's an animal advocate and payroll around the mansion because they live in this big ass mansion. They got a lot of people working around the clock trying to keep the house organized. When I think it's just them two up in there. I don't know if Howard's kids live up in there with him. But what is the hostile work environment? But it's immense pressures on the household created by irresponsible and untenable animal rescue and fostering operations occurring on site and massively disorganized and questionable business operations and accounting practices. Well, child, if y'all up here cooking the books and doing questionable business operations, you better spill all that in your court situation. As such, Kuhn fully intends to disclose details concerning the facts surrounding her employment, as you should. The lawsuit also alleges that a law firm representing Stern's production company presented her with a separation agreement containing a non-disclosure agreement that she claimed she did not sign. Now, Kuhn and her legal team allege her signature is nothing more than a typewritten name. They also said the confidentiality agreement was thus fabricated by the Sterns and is accordingly void from the beginning. Y'all saying you forged her name? No person or persons, natural or otherwise, ever presented Kuhn with an NDA, and for her signature, Kuhn never signed an NDA. So y'all saying that they went and forged your name on an NDA that you said you never signed. Now, Us Weekly, and I guess if they did that, wouldn't it be like, okay, so this is my handwriting, and if somebody tried to replicate it, I guess you can accuse them of forgery. Now, Kuhn is asking the court to declare the NDA unenforceable. She's also asking the court to require the Sterns to cover her court costs. Because you already know this is going to be expensive. And shout out to TMZ because they were the first to report the lawsuit. Now, in December 2025, Stearns signed a 3-year contract extension with SiriusXM, ensuring the Howard Stern Show will remain on the platform through the end of 2028. Now, Sirius did not disclose the terms of Stern's. Sirius XM did not disclose the terms of Stern's new deal. According to the LA Times, his expiring pact reportedly pays him $100 million a year. So you make $300 million off of this thing. Now, no wonder he lives in like a mansion the size of Iowa and got a doomsday bunker up in there. But that's not all, because she might actually have some leverage, because I also saw, according to Page Six, this was Us Weekly that reported this story, but Page Six did a deeper dive and brought up a blast of the past where some ex-staffers spoke out against his leadership 3 years before his former assistant accused him of creating a hostile work environment, because there were former employees of Howard's who worked at the Howard Stern show from 86 to 2005 revealed the frightening truth in a 2023 Vice TV docuseries, Dark Side of the 2000 Shock Jocks. So Jackie the Joke Man Martling, who was a cast member and writer of the show from 1983 to 2001, claimed that most of Stern's staff weren't getting paid as well, despite the host making countless millions of dollars. Saying it was frightening what was going on, Marling, now 78, said, before adding, there was so much money coming in, it was crazy the amount of money, but they weren't seeing any of it. Stern's refusal to bump up his salary was ultimately the reason Martling left the show. He said, "You are beyond rich and successful, and you have someone sitting next to you who makes you enjoy the job much more. And you let them go," Martling said about Stern, "because he asked for more money, especially when you're friends. It boggles my mind." Now, during the conversation, Martling slammed Stern for boasting about his loyalty, explaining, "He's got all the listeners calling me cheap, and he just crows and crows about how he's the most loyal guy in the world," which is funny. Now, elsewhere in the doc, stuttering John Melendez claimed he was making only $20,000 a year. And after making 75 grand following 15 years on the show, he ultimately left to earn around 350K to 400K with Jay Leno. Oh yeah, I forgot that Stuttering John left. And I remember back in the day, there was a big thing, because I think Howard was upset that Stuttering John left to go work with Jay Leno, and probably felt there was like a betrayal there. But wait a minute, if I'm only making 20K with you and TV is giving me 300 to 400,000, like almost $500,000 to go work with Jay Leno, oh, I'm taking that shit. Like, my loyalty would be with you because we came up together in the trenches and we became superstars off of the show. But if you're not willing to pay me my worth, and you want to sit and collect and hoard all the money while I'm sitting here just making crumbs, and I got a family and all this other stuff, then you genuinely don't give a fuck about me. So yeah, I'm gonna go run over there to Jay Leno and you just be mad about it. You'll be all right. So yeah, so Melendez, who's 60, said he couldn't let me evolve and be happy. This is what he said about Stern. As for Steve Grillo, who interned on the show from 91 to 98, alleged that he wasn't paid at all until 6 years into the job. He said, "I started getting paid about 30 hours a week minimum wage, which is like 635 at the time. So I got paid for 30 hours and I was working like 60. Grillo, who's now 58, recalled allegedly asking K-Rock vice president and general manager Tom Chusuno, or Chiswano, I think is how you say his name, for a raise to help qualify for health insurance, which he refused. When he reached out to Stern about the situation, the shock jock allegedly told his then intern, "Yeah, well, that's just Tom." That's a horrible way to do it. It's not to not stand up for an employee that took care of you for the past 8 years. And the fact that you are the most powerful voices at 92.3 K Rob, which I almost forgot what the damn name of the radio station was, because it's been so long since I've listened to, you know, corporate radio. But you were a powerful voice at the time. You could have made those people pay your employees, but Howard only cared about Howard, clearly, according to this story. Saying, "You're making $1 million an hour and I have to go to work at a nightclub in order to survive," he continued. "And this was the moment I knew I was going to leave. If that man's not going to stick up for me, I'm out." And that's when I left. Stern's alleged behavior towards his employee resurfaced, as we stated, when Page Six and many others, Us Weekly, we did that article, obtained court docs where Leslie Kuhn accused Stern 72 and his wife of allegedly creating a hostile work environment. Kuhn said she was in charge of managing the staff of the couple's 20,000 square foot Southampton mansion in New York. She claimed that despite being promised an increase in her salary and a bonus by Howard's production company in December 2025, she was fired in February of 2026. So clearly, um, he don't like paying his employees. So you want them to work themselves to the bone, and you want to be a cheap ass and just hoard all the money, and don't want to pay the people that are working hand over fist to make your life easier and your wife's life easier and more comfortable. One of these days he gonna learn, but I guess not when Sirius is now paying him hand over fist to do his own people dirty or to just hoard money. At this point, are there people out there that still listen to Howard? Like I used to listen to him back in the day, back when he was popping, but Howard ain't really given what needs to be given. I know some people feel like he's gotten soft in his later years, but I don't be listening to Howard like that. Child, I don't even listen to Sirius XM, so I wouldn't even know where to find him anyway. Although I have caught some of his interview clips, which I think is dumb that you only post like these 2-minute clips instead of the whole interview on YouTube. So that's the only time I'll see him every now and again. But for the most part, I'm not out here listening to Sirius like that. You know, I'm an Apple Music type of person, and sometimes Spotify. So I'll definitely keep abreast of this story as it develops, but that's what's going on now. This woman coming out making these accusations, and now his past has come back to haunt him because this old Vice documentary from past employees that used to work for him was spilling tea on what it was like working for Howard Stern, and was basically saying that he wasn't paying people and all this other stuff. So it looked like Miss Mama may have a case, and she gonna get a payout like Darrin Henson gonna get his payout over them using that bye 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 choreography without his damn permission. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story regarding Howard Stern and his wife Beth taking advantage of people and not willing to pay them what they're owed? And now the lady's like, I'm taking them to court. They out here forging my name on NDAs I never signed and a whole bunch of other mess. So whatever your thoughts are on this matter, and I will definitely keep abreast of it as it develops, let me know your thoughts on this story in the comments down below. He said Howard Stern has been hostile. He's a pig. Did you ever watch? Yes, I watched the Vampire Diaries and I watched the originals because I see Paul and Nina went to a basketball game together. Was it the Knicks? Because a lot of times, Paul Wesley, every now and again, I will see him at the Garden when I'm working. And Nina Dobrev, I don't know if I've ever, as far as I know, I don't think I've ever seen her. Although I did watch a movie with her the other day. It was a horror movie. I don't know if y'all ever saw it, called The Final Girls, where Taissa Farmiga plays the daughter of Malin Ackerman, and Malin Ackerman played this scream queen in the '80s who did this slasher film that was like a Friday the 13th type of ripoff or whatever. And her character it was not the final girl. She got killed in the movie, whatever the case was. And so a fire breaks out at the theater because a year after her mother, something happens. I don't know. I don't want to give it away after y'all seen it, but there's a I forget what the name of the movie is called. I think it's called Slumber Party Bloodbath or something or another. So they did like a marathon. So both movies. And they had the daughter come and want to do a Q&A and watch the film as they did the marathon or whatever at the theater. A fire breaks out. There's one of the prop machetes. She picks it up, slices a hole in the screen for her and the friends and everything to escape, and they end up in the damn movie living through the whole situation and trying to get out of the film. It was actually a pretty good film. I don't know if y'all seen it, but yeah, she was in that. Nina Dobrev is in that too. She plays a bitch, but she's in the movie. That's what I was trying to get to. Yes, I'm on 2 lives. I always do 2 lives. I have one where it's like more people, but more people. This is the thing now. So I have the vertical and the horizontal versions of the show that people tune into. More people tend to tune into the horizontal one, like the long form one, because they're watching on their phone. And I noticed that that one gets more views and more likes and more comments, and so that's why I do it on there. I don't know. YouTube has this thing where they want to push for that more. So there's that. Yeah, so I'm on to say, you said, hey, now, y'all, first time listener, your voice brought me here. Well, thank you. Not the Wendy Williams of the Straits. Oh, you talking about Howard Stern? I was like, yeah, he's the Wendy Williams of the Straits. Stop liking this guy after I saw how he treated Anna Nicole Smith, him and that nameless sidekick of his. Oh, you talking about my mother can't. I remember my mother told me she can't stand Robin Quivers because she said, all that lady do it, all she do is cackle alongside him like a damn parrot. I can't stand Robin Quivers. I was like, "What she do to you?" He said, "Was straight up bullying a person. Seeing his downfall brings a smile to my face." I said, "Yeah, he's an a-hole." Nina's been single for a while now. Yeah, because I forgot. I forget that. I think at one point she was engaged and something happened. Nina did a movie with Vin Diesel, Pierce Brosnan. She done. Yeah, she's been in a lot of movies. I can't remember what that is though, but I know she. Is it the? Was it Triple X that you talking about? I think that was like the last Triple X movie they did, where they were trying to Fast and the Furious it by trying to bring in all these international people into the film to sell it, and nobody cared because it seemed like y'all don't like Vin Diesel or anything outside of the Fast and the Furious movies. All right, y'all. So now let's get back into the show. And let's talk about RuPaul's Drag Race. So, in a couple of days, we'll be getting the second to the last episode of the season, which is the annual LaLaPaRuZa. And Juicy Love Dion, who y'all know was just eliminated from the show, is revealing that y'all about to gag when y'all watch this show. And then you want to know something funny? I was looking back on this and I was like, you know what? I could see why they doing a top three and they wanted to eliminate Juicy in that episode before the LaLaPaRuZa because they want her to perform in the LaLaPaRuZa and see how she goes up against all the girls because they know she is a good performer on stage and she probably take all them girls out. And then they want a rematch of her with Mia Starr. So I think that that's what's probably going to end up happening is that her and Mia Starr going to have another rematch like they did with Super Ugly. Although friends of the show Onyx told me they're gonna be performing to a bunch of RuPaul tracks, and I'm like, why? Is there no budget this time around? In the words of Gia Gunn, because I'm like, why are we using RuPaul's music? Quiet as it's kept. Yeah, RuPaul's music is cute or whatever, but we've seen them do lip syncs to his music. But anyway, so they said the breakout star from season 18 of RuPaul's Drag Race kicked, flipped, and split. She's not the queen of flips though. Um, all the way to the top. That's my Iman LePage. The top four of the cutthroat competition, but was sadly eliminated just before the finale. However, not all hope is lost, as all the eliminated queens will get to compete for a chance to earn $50,000 by winning the highly anticipated LaLaPaRuZa lip sync SmackDown for the crown. Now, Dion's mother, Morphine Love Dion, won the prize in season 16, followed by Susie Toot in season 17. Fun fact, they both wore red wigs when they were crowned. The queen of She Done Already Done had hers. I wish they would have just called it the queen of Ooh Girl, you got she-male. But they had to change that. But funny enough, speaking of Morphine Love Dion. Sidebar, y'all think that little golden tree outfit that Juicy wore last week, you think that was Morphine's outfit and she tried to wear it and pass it off as hers? Because quiet as it's kept, when I looked at that outfit, she was walking around the runway, it looked a little too big on her. It was ill-fitted. It looked like you took somebody's outfit out the closet and try to pass it off as something that was specially designed for you. Because you was a little too tiny to be putting that on. And it looked like it was overpowering you in that look. And that's no shade. It's just me observing. So she said, get ready to gag. It's not the usual LaLaPaRuZa. It's giving final boss. Okay, what is this? Mortal Kombat? This is the final battle. There was no bad blood in the air, but there was a superstition with Morphine Love Dion and Susie Toot, since both wore red hair. We may have kept that up. We may have kept up that superstition. This is what she told out. Now, although fans were disappointed to see Dion get cut right before the top three, many are thrilled that they'll watch the talented queen do what she does best, perform. Dion has wowed audiences with her incredible dance moves all over the world, so the LaLaPaRuZa will definitely serve as her time to shine, especially since season 18 featured a ton of improv and comedy challenges, which looking back on it and watching her, that was not Juicy's thing. And I know people kept saying, who are you? Who are you? Who are you? I don't know if Juicy is a pageant girl, but she gives pageant girl vibes, which is she gets up there, she performs. She's not that girl on reality TV that's I'm just going to give you vulnerability mess or whatever. And she did give a little of those moments, but I'm not acting. I'm not doing all these things. I just want to get up there. I want to hit a stage. I'm gonna give y'all flips. I'm gonna give you choreography. I'm gonna give you fierce outfits. I'm gonna give you emoting and performance. And she's a performer, and that's what her strengths are. And I applaud her for that. And if she don't, even though she ain't win the show, I definitely think that because Juicy is a talented performer, she's gonna go a long way. I would love to see her out there with like a full bunch of backup dancers and put on a routine where she's giving y'all show, even if it's by herself in a fabulous costume. Because I told her a friend of mine the other day, I think it was Christopher Richardson. He was at Piranha nightclub and he recorded her up there performing. I think she was doing Total Eclipse of the Heart, had the whole fan blown in the outfit, reenacting the same performance they did on the show, and with the fan. And she's been taken out of the role. Plus, her and Mia have been reenacting Super Ugly, which is a moment that was on the show that people tend to gravitate towards. So I don't even know. Do they still have that whole remember when the show would end and they would take the queens on the road and Brandon Voss was actually in charge of the girls and then work the world. Do they still do that? Or is there no budget this time around and they stopped doing the whole work the world thing? Because I know they're mostly focused on with Drag Race, they're mostly focused on the girls doing the Vegas thing, the Drag Race Vegas show, which I have not seen yet. So I know they're probably focusing on that. What I would really love for them to do if they were smart, but don't give me to giving people ideas. Maybe I need to say that for myself. Why don't they bring that RuPaul's Drag Race thing to Broadway? I mean, Channing Tatum's doing that smartly with the oh my god, what is that stripper thing that he did? The Magic Mike. He bringing Magic Mike to I think at the Copacabana. He's bringing that in the fall. That's coming to New York. So if you could take that from Vegas and bring it to New York and show a bunch of men up there dancing and stripping and all this stuff, why can't they do that with Drag Race? Y'all need to think big, or is it just me with all the good ideas? And I want somebody to give me an opportunity so I can create and host. Put that out in the universe, and I do believe it's gonna happen. So let's see if she said anything else. She also said, I think season 18 broke the mold for a traditional drag race season. We did a different Snatch game and the talent show in the middle of the season. Well, I definitely like what they did with Snatch game. Although some people bombed bad, I liked the Snatch game of Love Island. I also liked them doing the whole and that's the tea, that whole situation in the middle of the season because you get to know people and then you can vote based off of the biases. Because remember, at one point they all voted to send Mikey Meeks home, but quiet as it's kept, I think Mikey's gonna win the show. So she gonna have the last laugh. They said they've thrown a lot of curveballs our way in the audience to keep the show exciting. Which, if you think about it, it didn't work because a lot of people feel like this whole season has been a chop. And I think it's not only because the challenges have been lackluster, but they just don't feel like a lot of the queens on this season really popped and made it exciting. I'm not saying there need to be drama where y'all fighting, but it was just the challenges weren't really standing out to me. And it didn't even look like RuPaul was as engaged with a lot of what was going on this season. Quite as scary. I think he likes it being over in the UK more than he does in the US because you girls was bringing it, which is why we have people like Plain Jane going on social media and going on a lot of other drag shows, like interviews and stuff, basically saying none of these girls in this season have star quality. If you ain't got star quality, get the fuck out of here. Shout out to Candy Muse. And they said, and then she also went and said, speaking of Plane, we pulled up on Plane. We were all in Chicago at the same time. And I remember seeing this video online. She said, Athena and I grabbed onto Plane and told her to correct that statement. Thank God Plain Jane did as good as she did on RuPaul's Drag Race because I don't think her track record on anything else is going to be that good. So the girls are still out here being a little catty and, just a little, giving a little Venetian blind shade. But I'm definitely, excuse me, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what the girls are going to be bringing this week on LaLaPaRuZa. I'm really hoping that's not true with the whole fact that they're going to be lip syncing to RuPaul's Drag Race, RuPaul tracks. Because I'm like, I'm trying to think, what songs out there that RuPaul got out of Bob's? I mean, I don't want to be sounding shady, but don't nobody want to hear them RuPaul drop. Like, I want some real, like, come on now. Y'all, MTV is running the damn show. Y'all got access to people music. So we'll see how this whole thing turns out this week and if the girls are going to turn it and burn it. And if Juicy is going to rock red hair to keep the tradition going and if she wins. Because I think that if it boils down to it, it's either going to be her or Mia Star that ends up winning the LaLaPaRuZa because these are like true performers down. Boots. as they say. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? Are you looking forward to seeing this? To seeing Miss Juicy Love Dion tear, the house down, performing at this coming week's annual LaLaPaRuZa. So whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. Mm. Yes, YouTube has shown you in that phone version, even when watching you on my laptop. So they definitely pushing it. Yeah, they want people to watch. I don't know why they trying to push for people to on the phone. I honestly, visually, I prefer the version where you can watch on the TV and the laptop and stuff. But they pushing people to watch on the phone. I definitely see that more people engage on the phone version, and that tends to get more traction. So if it's going to help with the monetary situation, I'm gonna take advantage of it. But I prefer the long form version. A report is coming in saying family films are saving the box office, and that's what Hollywood needs more kids' movies. Rated R. Well, look, Cody Leach just did a whole video on how family movies are just getting pretty bad. Like even down to where he said he watched the new Mario Brothers movie, and he said that it wasn't bad. It's not something that's going to acquire repeat viewings. He just thinks that the writing was a bit lazy and all that stuff, which is pretty much what everybody's been saying that's been in the comments about the film. But he was saying that but just because they're being lazy and everything, that we shouldn't be accepting mid-ass writing and the lack of plot points and all those other stuff in the sake of nostalgia. That if people aren't giving us strongly, or like if you're not caring enough to take the time to write the script or whatever the case is, then we shouldn't just be okay with that. Like, remember back in the day, and he said his kids tend to watch more of the movies that he grew up on, like The Lion King and all that other stuff, versus the movies of now, which is kind of bad that they're preferring movies of my childhood over their own child stuff, their own stuff that they should be looking forward to as kids growing up. Hollywood got to stop being lazy with the writing and really take the time and investment in the entertainment. Really rooting for Nene to win with Darlene as my second choice. I don't know. I feel like Mikey because of track record, but then again, RuPaul's Drag Race ain't been particularly keeping track of the track record. People got great track records and y'all eliminating them. So I don't even know what to believe anymore. But I definitely feel because Mikey has been doing relatively well in a lot of the challenges, and Nene's kind of been falling off with being up for elimination, you know, quite a few times already. I definitely feel they're probably gonna give it to Mikey. I would love for Nene to win. I don't know at this point. It's anybody's game. Could you imagine if they give it to Darlene Mitchell? Now that would be the ultimate gag. It's not the usual LaLaPaRuZa because it's a bunch of half-ass roots. Could be that. Like you said, it's a bunch of RuPaul songs. You said the studio is going to be good. The 2 Madonna episodes will shade Universal Pictures and slam the industry and stage a fake Madonna biopic premiere at Cannes. She's right. The 2 episodes. Is this what came out that they're going to poke fun at the whole they're poking fun at the whole biopic thing. I could imagine myself being in the same predicament as her if I was a contestant on the show, a performing dancing queen on the show that would struggle with comedy and unserious acting. That's why I always said, like, my vision, my dream is to create a show where it's drag queens and perform it like something out of the range of like Dancing with the Stars, so you then could dance with drag queens. That's like the dream of something I want to create and host and executive produce and get that out there because we definitely I think we need to show the art of drag and performance with these queens instead of doing all the basing it off of things that RuPaul has done in his life, which I act, I sing, I don't know about the dancing. If you want to call him doing that little share shuffle as dancing, that's because that's what he does. The little that share move that he does. And that's very share when you watch him perform on stage with them big ass shoes he be wearing. The Darlene Mitchell shoes. Or the ones that remember when RuPaul used to wear these little the heels with the like the back with the back was missing. It was like the backless strap. He used to wear those type of shoes, which used to always crack me up. But but yeah, so but they're trying to incorporate all the things that he did coming up in the business. And so they try to incorporate that in the show. But I would love a straightforward drag performance show where we're entertained by the girls. She's going to discuss why she went to Universal Pictures because they were going to do an unauthorized biopic with a well-known rapist and she name drops his name, Brett Ratner. So so they were going to have Brett Ratner directed? Child. I destroyed the unauthorized biopic. So the 2 episodes of the studio is going to be Madonna's way of telling her side of events. And you already know, like with the studio, and oh my god, what the hell is his name? She's friends with the guy that does the show. So, which I'm getting a lot of advertisements every time I click on stuff for um the studio, which is annoying. And they blow the damn thing away. I gotta click at the X and get rid of all. I'm like, why is this damn ad so ginormous? So they've definitely pushing the studio. I've been meaning to watch it. I have Apple TV, so I've been definitely meaning to watch because I've heard so many great things about the show. So I definitely think and it's very meta the way they're talking about with the show. Like it's very, I think, like Entourage, but very meta. I really don't want Mikey to win. I could barely remember anything she did before the girls voted her to be in the bottom two. She also very mean, but the edit would never reveal it. Ooh. But that's why I said they sitting there talking about, oh, they were trying to do all the tricks and the turns to make the show entertaining. I'm like, well, it didn't work because a lot of people wasn't feeling this season. Have you seen the video for Britney dancing the all night don't? Is that recent? He said the choreographer dancing alongside her is Mia Starr out of drag. I knew there was a reason why she was my winner pick. Yeah, I mean, I thought that was revealed. Well, not that, but I thought it was revealed that Mia Starr was a backup dancer for a lot of your favorite pop stars. I think that was in her bio. And they talked about it, I believe, in like when the Meet the Queens and stuff of all the performers that she's performed. I think she used to dance for Lopez and Janet Jackson, like a lot of big celebrities. Seth Rogen. I don't know why I couldn't think of his damn name. But I saw she's good friends with him. I saw a photo of RuPaul at Madonna's music album release party today. You said you saw a video of RuPaul at music album release party? You talking about the music album. I'm like, wait, she had her album release party for the new album? But you talking about music back in 2000. It was from around 2016. I knew she was a backup dancer for a bunch of ladies, but I never knew he was in that. Yeah, he was in videos and stuff too. And Mia Starr can get it. One of my friends told me that he knew her, and he was like, "I could have introduced." I said, "Well, bitch, you didn't tell me that you knew Mia Starr. Like, if that was the case, we could have had a moment and took pictures and this, that, and the other." But I understood the thing. What had happened was, and we had this conversation. What had happened was, I told her it was a lot of chaos and a lot of craziness and a lot of pandemonium and shenanigans going on at this RuPaul's Drag Race premiere situation. We were all running around like chickens with his heads cut off. And people were unorganized and people were trying to rush and make things happen relatively quickly. And a lot of wasn't prepared. The people wasn't prepared. I'm gonna just shut up. But yeah, it was a lot going on. And it got a little chaotic. And people that I wanted to I didn't even get a photo with T.S. Madison. I was trying to get a photo with her, but it was just so much going on at the time that it didn't happen. But we'll better luck next time. All right. So now, okay, so let's get to our final topic. Now let's talk about heated rivalry because the girls are carrying out here. So apparently they had some little heated rivalry lookalike contests. The industry or people in general, places are no stranger to lookalike contests because we've had Timothy Chalamet lookalike contest where I think he even turned up to one, which I guess made him kind of relatable at that part until he started, with the whole Kylie Jenner thing, and then people started to get slightly turned off. And even Harry Styles has had his own lookalike contest. So now they've done one with Heated Rivalry where they had people who look like Shane and Ilya, who is played by Hudson Williams and Connor Story, respectively, and It was at Wonder Garden in Washington, D.C., where they had girls and gays going wild for entrants who looked like Shane and Ilya. So we seen videos of it, and the boys was carrying to the point where they was making out with each other. So I got two clips. One I'm gonna show y'all from Pink News, and then I'm gonna show you one of the ones that I think went on a date with one of the guys that got chosen. So hold on a second, because I'll pull that up, and we're gonna come back and talk. Please hold. I eating a 5 shell. The girls seem more excited than the boys. Okay, so there's one, and then we have this one where I saw over on the Twitter. And hold on. Wait, hold on. I don't need y'all to play. But share the tab, and then we're gonna come back. Please hold again.
Have you seen any cutie patooties? Have you talked to anyone interesting today?
Yeah.
Oh, she a gymnast too. Come on, podcast.
Hi, I'm reporting live from the trenches of the dating scene in Washington, D.C., and I'm here with
Felix.
Felix. What did you just do?
I just did the Heated Rivalry Lookalike contest.
He just won it. He won as Ilya. The people loved you. Have you seen the show?
I have seen the show.
What do you like about it?
The slow burn is almost something that I think is like good to believe in. I think people are so quick to like cut something off if it's like not immediately going right or not immediately working. I think there are some toxic elements and circumstances are obviously really, really hard.
Yeah.
I dated someone who's in the closet, and that's incredibly difficult to do, especially as someone who's like at that point was very out and very proud. I think the slow burn and the like knowing that that's your person and like exploring things on the side is fine, but like knowing like I don't know, there's something about that kind of commitment and the not commitment that I'm like, oh, I like that.
I hope we'll have more yearning.
Yes. Yearning.
Yeah.
Like yearning to a point where it's like, oh, I like maybe could like kiss someone else, but like I don't want to. And I know that. I don't need to lie to myself about it.
Yeah.
He said yearning like he just discovered a new word.
More yearning.
Yeah.
2026, more yearning.
I see you wearing a green wristband, which means you're single. Have you seen any cutie patooties? Have you talked to anyone interesting today?
Yeah. There are very attractive people here in DC. Some attractive gay men.
Do you have any advice for...
Stay away from them politicians, girl, especially Lady G, who run around here like a drunken queen. And Lady G, Lindsey Graham.
Other single people out there looking to find love or maybe have fun?
Go out to queer spaces with your friends and be ready and open to talk to new people. I think there's something really cute about a meet cute that's like, I was at my favorite lesbian bar and that's where I met the person who ended up being the love of my life. Like, I think that is beautiful.
Have you had any meet cutes recently other than...
Wait, hold on, but pause that, because he said to go out and don't be afraid to meet new people. Does this mean that Gen Z is more interested in wanting to, instead of, people getting so caught up in online, the grinders and the scrubs and the sniffies and that sort of thing? Does that mean that Gen Z are more or less trying to revive like what my generation was doing, which we were going out to the bars and the clubs and we were actually meeting people instead of relying on the apps for hookups and that instant gratification where people actually want to go out and get into it like a deeper meaning in life? And it seems like a lot of the Gen Zers, it's not. Some people say that they are standing for, trust to believe, they out here fucking. But I feel like with them is that they want a little something deeper. It's not just about the sex. They want that emotional connection. And I think it's probably because the era of social media and internet and all other stuff, everything feels so artificial and AI and everything that they're kind of like, now that they move beyond that because that's what they grew up in, they want that yearning or that feeling of a human connection or just being around an actual physical being instead of relying on being surrounded by the machines all the time.
Today?
The one today was really good. That was like a top tier meet cute. Like tell the kids one day, like, well, I met your father. First time we met, we made out in front of many people and many phones. It's a good story. But yeah, support queer-owned businesses. I have a run club in Richmond, and we partner with 2 queer-owned businesses, and I think that is like the best way to bring people together and support queer businesses.
Thank you.
Right now, he better work with all that heated rivalry tea. But that's not all that went on, because of course, when we're dealing with social media, the children were out here responding to all this kissing and tomfoolery going on around, and that's good tomfoolery. So fans of social media, one joked, men making out for female attention is such a hilarious switch up. Yeah, because you would hear a lot of women like, ugh, homosexuality is a sin. Oh, we don't want to see all that stuff with the boys and stuff. Seems like the girls out here is loving it. Just like back in the day, how women was out here watching Queer as Folk and all these shows. Now, when it comes to heated rivalry, it seems to be a bigger female fan base with those shows than I mean, don't get me wrong, there are gay guys that watch the show, but it seems like there's more women who get caught up in this than anything. Even one of my friends, Karol, who is a guy, he got excited because for his birthday, they took him to his first hockey match because he is obsessed with heated rivalry. So, and he had a good old time. So another said, them kissing is the best part. A third wrote, the next lookalike contest is in my bedroom. Now, Crave, the Canadian channel which originally aired the show, commented, our invite must have been lost in the mail. Yeah, that would have been cool if they could have had somebody from there that would have had that. And even Grande got involved, commenting, my rivalry has been heated. So look, how I feel about this whole thing, I think it's cute or whatever when they have these lookalike contests, and this is a way to bring the gays together and the girls and the gays, the boos and the boys. So I remember I've always known you had a thing for the boos and the boys. Remember that from Mommy Dearest? That popped in my head for some reason. But anyway, so I feel like this would be a good idea for a reality series, like a competition series like Squid Game, like how they're making that into a reality competition series. I think we need a heated rivalry dating spinoff where you can stick a few Shanes and Ilya lookalikes in a house together, Love Island style, and see if they hit it off. Look, I'll even host it and executive produce it. So if there's any producers that want to get on this collaboration, if y'all want to do a heated rivalry type dating show, and y'all need a host, or I could be the messy Andy Cohen one up in the house. Not creepy like him, but I could be the entertaining Andy Cohen type where I'm hosting, we do the reunion, it gets messy, you get a bunch of cute boys up in a house together, and take it from there. Or maybe we need a gay version of Love Island mixed with Big Brother or something or another. I got some ideas. Hit me up, people, producers, studios, all that good stuff. I got some ideas I can throw in your way, because the gays, we definitely need some representation outside of Drag Race and heated rivalry. Trust, there's a lot going on in his brain. So I say all this to say, maybe I can find a way to create an app with someone where we can come up with some queer-based programming, because we definitely need that. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story regarding the heated rivalry stuff? I know some people are just like, whatever about this show, but anything that's going to give us some queer representation out here in these streets, I am here for it, especially in these dire times of people trying to silence anybody that's different, with this administration, or should I say regime. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Oh, you said what's the deal with T.S. Matt? Oh, that fat bitch, that foot dragging fungus on the toes, wide back hoe, Michelle A.T. Alien. Okay, so the issue is with her that apparently, because all she does is make videos about T.S. Madison and Funky Dineva. I think there was an episode the other day, the Easter show. I didn't get around to watching it yet. It's still in my queue because I've been busy. I have a life. I've been doing shows, all of those, so I can't catch up on everything. But I did see that, and that's no shade. I'm just saying, well, maybe there was a little shade towards Big Bag. But but in regards to this story, what had happened was, apparently, I think she said that she got her video struck. And they had I think she got a warning on her YouTube channel for talking about Michelle. But this bitch sits and spends all of her energy and time talking about T.S. Madison and Funky Dineva. I'm bringing up Funky Dineva because in general, Funky has said that, yes, this bitch be up in there talking about him. even though he don't even waste time talking about her. But this is what all your videos are about. You're sitting there throwing shade and talking about, and then putting these little wigs on Funky and everything, even though he don't let, he's done with that. Although I can't say that no more because literally, I think yesterday's show, he opened up wearing a damn shake and go wig, making fun of the AKAs and the fraternity, the sororities and all these other stuff because a Trick Daddy went and performed at a sorority and was up in there cussing and all kinds of other stuff, and people was getting mad. And it's like, you knew who the fuck you booked. And that's what he said. He ignorant down from Miami. He said, you knew who the fuck y'all booked when you had me come up in there. I'm not cleaning up my lyrics. He said, I ain't no damn jukebox. You ain't gonna give me no list on what I can say and what the song, the track. This ain't your wedding. You booked me for this thing. This is what I do. Like, y'all can't sit up here and tell me to water down what I do. You know what type of songs he says. He raps. So, bottom line, she's been, I guess, TS went in on Michelle because I guess it's this whole thing about the DL Whisperer and how, she's been dealing with that lawsuit and where she basically had a little empathy for him. But then when it came down to the court, he's still out here listening to these other people who are chirping in his ear, trying to get him all riled up because he loves that attention and clout. And he said that he's not going to let up off Maddie. And she was like, nope. In the words of Khaleesi, Dracarys, bitch. Like, if you're going to come for me or whatever, I'm not having no sympathy and empathy for you. The gloves is off and I'm coming for you. Fire, breathing fire out my mouth and everything. I'm burning it all to the fucking ground. I'm ruining your life. Because you're not going to come out here and talk shit about me and thinking that I'm just going to take my foot off your neck. Same thing with Cardi B and the whole thing with Tasha K, bald-headed ass, running around saying the allegations and saying all the shit she's been saying about Cardi B that was lies. And now she's been sued, and now she got to owe that money, and she's still trying to figure out how she's gonna pay her that coin back. And so that's why she feels that the whole situation. So apparently, she says something to Maddie, and Maddie went on her live and said something, and then got a strike on her YouTube channel. So that's basically what it is. And saying that, oh, you be sitting there talking about me on my channel. On your channel all day long, and we don't say nothing. We let you do whatever because that's the only way you making any kind of income over there. It's still being a bit of bitch. But the minute I say something about your big back ass, then all of a sudden you want to call up YouTube and tell them to strike my damn channel. So you can dish it and not take it. When those of us who got thick skin over here in this job, we know turnabout is a fair game. So if you're going to talk about people, you got to be able to deal with the smoke. I did not watch it yet, but I do have it in my a list of things to watch because I did see that it popped up on the thing, and I did put it in there so I could watch it whenever I can get around to it. You said check my inbox. What is going on? Who is calling my phone? My annoying ass sister. Calling my phone. Why is she asking me? Hold on. Let me see. What could you always sending me some shit? Oh. Shahs of Sunset star. I think this is what you was talking about. He said details past romance with Biggest Loser's Rob Harper that turned into a threesome. Let me find out y'all out here fucking. Well, we already know that Rob Harper is a homosexual, right? But the question remains, did this happen while you was married to your husband? He said a surprise chatter from his past revealing details about a former romantic connection with Bob Harper. The candid admission is sparking curiosity as fans react to the unexpected link between the two personalities. I'm like, child, this is a mess. Y'all out here hunching. Oh, maybe I need to do this story. Hold on now. I can create this as a story. Please hold. This will be we'll add this to the docket chair. So Because I can make this real quick. We got a picture. We got a picture. Wait, that's not what I wanted to do. This is what I wanted to do. I was like, I got so much stuff going on. Okay, I got it. Okay. So it looked like we got some breaking news, y'all. So let's get into the tea. So I got it courtesy of People. They said Reza is looking back at his love life and he got a new book coming out. Said the Shahs of Sunset star, who's 52, shared in Memoirs of a Gay Shah. That's funny and clever. My story of family, fame, and becoming a king, that he once had a romantic relationship with Biggest Loser star Bob Harper. Well, Bob is good looking. In his memoir released on Tuesday, April 7th, that's today, Farhan wrote that the pair met while working as trainers at a studio. After quitting, Farhan began taking Harper's classes, and they soon became inseparable, best friends, and one thing led to another. Said Bob and I carried on like that for a good while. It was very much a friends with benefits situation, though, Farhan claimed of their romantical history. He said, I wanted more, but I always got the feeling he wasn't interested in any kind of serious relationship with anybody, so I didn't really push the matter. And I guess when you in LA, some of these men out here are just interested in fornicating rather than really being in a relationship. Now, eventually, Farhan wrote that he discovered Harper had gotten married to a man named Scott, so he became best friends with the two of them. The relationship, he alleged, then turned into a threesome. The end of the story is a bit bittersweet, Farhan wrote. Poor Scott, who I honestly harbored no ill will toward, even though I was chasing his husband, ended up passing away. And even though Bob and I didn't last forever, we remain friends to this day. I actually sold Bob's house for him a few months ago. Still, he added that his experience with Harper was a catalyst for me to realize that this is not okay and that second place isn't enough. Don't go for second best, baby. Put your love to the test. Wise woman once said that. They said, I really wanted to have a stable long-term relationship with someone who was loving and loyal to me and only me, someone who was choosing to be with me and above all others and not out of desperation either, someone who had options but was still choosing me. Now, they said they reached out to reps for Harper. Now, in 2015, while appearing on Watch What Happens Live, Harper confirmed he and Farhan had a romantic past. He said, we had a thing a very, very long time ago. This is what he told Andy Cohen. It was a tawdry little thing. I love Reza, though. I love him. So I guess maybe in a way that gave him permission that he could actually talk about this story. So he's not coming out of pocket bringing this up, because Bob mentioned it on Watch What Happens Live damn near 10 years ago. So Farhan previously revealed the cover of his memoir with People back in November. Per synopsis, it offers a heartfelt, hilarious, and deeply human story about how one outcast boy grew into a confident man by reclaiming every part of himself, his culture, his identity, his queerness, and decided to live not just authentically, but extravagantly. And the fact that he's Persian, out here living his best life and being an out and proud homosexual, it's actually a good thing too, because you don't often see that. And Reza became like the breakout star of Shahs of Sunset back in 2012, and he was the main cast member until the show was canceled after 9 seasons in 2022. And then now he's doing this show called The Valley Persian Style. So, excuse me. So it goes into his, life about how he was stuck in the United States with his family at 4 after what was supposed to be a quick family trip to LA, became a permanent exile when the revolution erupted in Iran. Eventually, he became a larger-than-life fan favorite star Bravo Shahs of Sunset when he served look, shade, and cultural pride in equal measure. So yeah, you don't really see a lot of men out here from Iran or whatever the case is that are out and proud gays. And even though some people may find them polarizing or annoying, whatever the case is, I think being a larger-than-life personality and being out loud and proud, especially when you're a man from Iran, which you don't normally see a lot of gay men of that magnitude showing, being represented. I think that's a good thing. I mean, the last time I think we've seen somebody who might be Persian and homosexual and given that kind of representation was Jackie Cox over there on RuPaul's Drag Race. What season was that? 15? So shout out to you, Reza. And yeah, let me know what you guys think of this. Did y'all I didn't even know he had a book coming out. So it'll be interesting to hear how this how all this transpires. Book sales, whatever, and even if he's doing interviews. I don't even know if he's been doing those, but I wouldn't be surprised if he is. Netflix is rumored to remove the password sharing ban after subscribers drop 15%. Well, yeah, they're going to be losing money. And on top of that, I'm sure they're going to probably take, with Italy, and we talked about it yesterday, that Italy is suing Netflix for unlawfully raising the prices. I don't think it'll happen in America because I guess upon further research, they've been following the bylaws. But in other countries, you can't do to them what you've been doing to us and get away with it. They have their own little laws and things. So, and I also heard that Spain is also up for going after Netflix, and the same reason why, Italy is. So if this happens and they win, it's going to open a Pandora's box. But they do need to remove the password sharing ban because people are password sharing whether they want to or not. People are going to subscribe and churn or whatever, whether they like it or not. You can't stop that. You can't stop churning. You can't stop. You can't stop people from doing what they're doing. And not everybody can afford all these apps now, with everything being so damn expensive. Not Reza Yuck. I just remember his horrible behavior on the first 2 seasons. He did change later. I think he did change later in life, or Andy Cohen likes giving annoying ass problematic. Well, I won't say problematic, but he does like giving problematic people platforms too. But he likes also giving people who are just loud and obnoxious platforms as well. The Strokes will be releasing their 7th album, Reality Awaits, on June 26th. Are we here for Julian Casablancas when his daddy was out here being a rapist of young girls, allegedly? Hopefully he's not like his daddy, but yeah, when his father owned that modeling agency, like Trump and all of them, the father was out here doing unconscionable things, allegedly. That's the story that's been floating around, especially for the Epstein files. So, all right. Well, good on Julian and them. But anyway, y'all, we are at the end of today's show. I want to thank you all for tuning in to the latest episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. Please hit that like, subscribe, smash the notification bell, all that good stuff. Okay, so this week I'm going to be pretty busy, so I won't be back on the air until possibly next Monday. Because, yeah, tomorrow I got the final Rangers game of the season. Thursday, Friday is Knicks. Saturday is Citi Field with the Mets. And Sunday is another Knicks game. So y'all won't see me until next week. I'm going to be booked and busy. So, yeah, I'll try to cut up the clips and get them all out there so people can watch. But in the meantime, thank you all for tuning into the show. Love you all for watching. Thank you for your continued support of this messy channel. And until next time, ciao, darlings.